Welcome in, everybody, to yet another edition of the Sunday Social. Well, it used to be hour, but it's more like 2.5, 3 hours now, because we like providing content for you, the people. So it's just a Sunday Social show right now. But we do have a new segment rolling in, and that's why we got a new guest down below me. Alan, how's it going? Well, glad to have you.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
That's awesome. I've been waiting for your information all day, and I know Dylan has, so I'm sure the people are gonna love it. But before we jump into all that, we got to do some work for the website. Just don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you guys want to get plenty more good content. We got Detroit Beastie Chris Robbin. We got Dave Eddy loading up the DFS channel for us, or the DFS side of the channel for us. So go hit up those videos. They can help you win money, just like Alan's going to help you win money today. But yeah, if you got... Oh, go! My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Hopefully.
Well, I've been reading your tweets and Keith's tweets, and it's like, man, everyone's got to listen to Alan right now. He's on fire. So it's like that's why we wanted you on here. But yeah, if you guys want direct access to us, you got to sign up for those membership plans. You can get in the Discord channel, get access to Dave Eddy and Chris Robbin, get access to Joe's top 5 rankings, which seem to be every single year. But you got to do that at fantasysixpack.net/plants. All right. If you want, direct access to us, all that fun stuff, you got to go there and sign up for a plan. Trust me, it's worth the price of admission, especially getting to talk to Alan and Dave and Chris. Joe's nice too. But let's just jump right into it. Now, the whole reason Alan's here is he's our betting man. All right. We got all different types of, content rolling out here at F6P. We got our DFS, but then we got our team bets and our player prop bets. And that's where Alan's killing it. So that's why he's here today, Alan. We're curious. Who are your top 3, team bets and player prop bets that you're, hammering today?
So I took some time this morning to double check the money line dogs. I think that's usually a good play for the first 3-4 weeks. And so my top 3 that I tweeted out were the Bears money line, the Dolphins money line, and then the Steelers money line. I think the Patriots are in there somewhere too, maybe earlier in the week. But those 4 teams are pretty solid. One of the things that people should look to this week when you're thinking about taking the risk on the dogs is the percentage in which teams cover after they get blown out in week 1. That's something I highlighted in my podcast, and I keep talking about every week or all week when I'm on anything. When somebody's asking me questions, the Bears got beat by more than 10. The Steelers got blown out by more than 10, and the Seahawks got blown out by more than 10. And those teams cover 63% of the time from week 1 into week 2. If you go back to last year, there were 6 teams that got blown out in week 1. All 6 covered the spread in week 2. And I think a percentage of them were outright winners as well. So you still have the opportunity to make some money this week on dogs. You kind of want to build your pot up a little bit if you're a rolling gambler like myself. I started in at $50 a bet. I'm up to $200 a bet because I had a good week last week. But that's how I typically do my stuff. I want to roll my bets, take advantage of when I'm hot, realize when I'm cold, and cash out at that time.
Yeah, sure. That's some great information right there, man. And it gets me excited hearing that you're in on the Bears money line today. I'm a Bears fan, and it was pretty nasty last week. I do see some weather concerns down there, which, if you ask me, that works in the Bears' favor with Justin Fields being able to run the football and all that good stuff.
Yeah, if it's a sloppy game, I definitely like the Bears because I'm a Niners fan. That's how they got us last year.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Not wrong. And that was a sloppy game.
But if you're looking for favorites to follow, real quick, I didn't want to cut you off.
You're good. You're here to just talk, Alan. Yep. You do your thing.
So my super contest strategy is always 2 favorites and 3 dogs. I started that last year, and it was phenomenal. I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 weeks because of bye weeks that I changed up that situation a little. But I always try to get 2 favorites and 3 dogs on my plays. The 2 favorites that I like, if you're betting them outright by the hook, the Chiefs -3, the Broncos -3. If you can't buy the hook on those, I still think they're relatively safe, but the gambling superstition in me tells me that regardless of what people will say statistically, if you buy it down to 3, the odds of a push or at worst being a push are substantially higher than, you know, getting that dreaded missed extra point or something like that.
Right.
And then for some plays that I had early, just because I was talking to you guys before we got on about the line movement, I actually have tickets for the Dallas Cowboys -3.5. That line is now 9.5. I have a ticket for the Falcons +2. That line is now -3. And I have a ticket for the Seahawks +6. That is now +4.5. And then, as everybody who's been around the betting Discord will know, I said Tuesday morning, like 2 a.m. Hey, I'm taking the Vikings +7.5. If you want to get in on it, I don't think it's going to get any higher than that. And by kickoff on Thursday, it was Eagles favored by 5.5. And I do a little thing with my son where he picks the game. So my son picked the Eagles to cover, and I still had the bag on the +7.5, and we both won. So that's part of like some of the importance of getting in on lines early. I did another podcast and I was explaining it's like stocks. You find an entry point that you like, you get in and you lay the money, and then you just wait on it. If it moves up or down, fluctuates, then you can kind of hedge, because they do that in stocks. Like if you get in and the stock drops, if you're bullish on it, boom, 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 put more money in it. You know, like same thing with that. Like if I like the Eagles at -7 and it dropped down to 5.5, I'm taking the 5.5 too. So worst case scenario, you still make some kind of money.
Right. Great points.
And that's what it is. I mean, everyone tries to, you know, and especially me, I'm guilty of it. You know, you try to make that, you know, that bet that's going to win you big, when ultimately you're just going to be more successful just winning a little at a time each day, each bet. You know, don't try to go for that big one. You know, if you have the money for it, why not? But, you know, it's the little wins each day that you're going to make the profit on. It's not just going to be that one big hit.
Yeah, it's 18 weeks. It's a long.
Exactly. Dave says it all the time. You can't go broke winning. I mean, even if it's a couple bucks here or there, you can't go broke winning.
Yep. And I told a gentleman in the Discord when the Vikings were at 6 that I wouldn't take it at 6, because in my mind, if I saw a line at 7.5, and the Seahawks fit that today, like I got him at 6 and now it's at 4.5, I'm not going to recommend people take the 4.5 and follow me on that, because it hasn't went the Seahawks way since it was at 6. More than likely, the people who cap these games for like the big sports books, they know what they're doing, and the number always falls between, and that's why everybody screams that it's rigged when they lose. But it's like, if you pay attention, they already told you probably should leave this game alone.
They're telling you with their actions.
Yeah.
That is a good point. I never thought about that. You can read between the lines with how the lines are moving.
Yeah, literally. And if I don't feel good about something, it took some years. Like I was awful at NFL for about 4 or 5 years, but it took some humbling and some patience for me to tell myself, like, look, sometimes you just gotta move in another direction. Find something else. Like I will flip my phone over to keep me from betting on it sometimes. Like, you know what? Let me go play Diablo or go play with my son so I don't waste my money, because, you know, there's a lot of ego in it, man. Like, you want to be right. Yeah. And then you want to outsmart the book. But at the end of the day, like, you know, the infamous line, the house always wins.
It's so true.
They know.
Yep.
They've been doing this for years and years and years. I mean, so yeah, you're right. The house usually always does win, but that's why it's like, don't go broke making a profit. Just a little at a time is usually a good methodology with it. But I'll be honest, this is why you're here, because I'm not a betting man. You are.
Yep, agreed. But Alan, could I'd also like to pick your brain here on some. Do you have any player props that you like for today's games?
So I usually don't do props until about week 3 or 4, because I like to gather data. I'm also a film watcher, which I don't know if you guys have seen me in various like chats. I'm so bad at figuring out what Discord I'm in and just firing off about how I don't like something, and it's not pertaining to, like, if it's the DFS thing, they're not asking about cover 2, cover 0 and stuff like that. I'm in there sounding like Tony Romo, but I actually utilize that to my advantage when I'm picking props, because if you watch all 22s, you can kind of see tendencies yourself. And so you can kind of step into the mind of a coach, step into the mind of how people game plan. So one of the things that I like to do, I'll give you an example of why I like the Patriots this week. It's not because everybody's like heavy on the Patriots, because I still think there's some bias there because of Bill. It's because schematically, I think the Patriots will make the windows tighter for Tua when he throws, and that's the key to stopping or slowing down that offense. Like the Patriots defense showed me something when they played the Eagles. Like they looked pretty good, and they made it difficult for Hurts, and they kept things tight. When you're playing the Dolphins, they come from Kyle Shanahan's like passing scheme. You have to close the windows primarily in the middle of the field or leading to the middle of the field. The vertical element is there, but that's how they trick you. They want you to think they want to go deep to Tyreek Hill. But if you watch that game, a lot of those plays were not deep shots to Tyreek. It was built up to be a deep shot to Tyreek. And because they were scared of the deep shot, the windows were open in the middle of the field, and the Chargers would get caught trying to jump routes or guess. And then Tyreek and Waddle are behind them running the deep route that they were afraid of the whole time.
And you can't guess with those receivers.
Yeah. And Bill, he still got it in the defensive side of things. So taking that into consideration, I don't want any props in that game because I'm like, that's going to probably be a rugged game. It's more than likely Tua's 4-0 straight up against the Patriots. If anybody was wondering, there's value in fading him just because at some point he's going to lose a game. Why not do it now when the Patriots are a dog? You know, why not take that shot? That's another gambling tidbit. But I went for games that I thought people had traditional or some kind of like pathology to being good. So I went Seahawks Lions, and I took Geno over 1.5 touchdowns. It's a perfect opportunity for him to bounce back. You're getting good odds on it at -115. I was surprised at -115. I know there's injuries on the tackles. I've done a little research on the backups or the options that they have at backup. People keep talking about Jason Peters. He's probably not going to play. But sure, the two guys that might come in, they have starting. They've already started before. They've got some experience. It's not like they're doing rookies, and it could be a little up and down. But Pete Carroll and those guys have always found a way to be competitive. And I think last week was just the Rams just always give the Seahawks fits. I don't want to read into it too much, but I think Geno definitely comes out and tries to fire off. I mean, he had 100 passing yards. Like, come on, man,
not good.
I took Geno over 258.5 passing yards because in my mind, if you got two tackles that are hurt, I know people would think that you probably want to run the ball, but I think, again, you want to establish that your quarterback can get it done. The last time that these teams played, they combined for 90 points. Don't forget that.
I was just going to say last year's matchup was fireworks for this.
So I think there's something there. And then my homer slash it's
you always got to have a homer bet.
It's a little homerish, but hear me out. Deebo Samuel's anytime scorer against the Rams +135. He didn't score last week. Ooh. He is on record, and I sent the link to Keith. He's on record saying how much he hates the Rams. Like, it's personal. He's never liked the Rams. And if you look at his stats, I think he's played them 7 or 8 times. He scored 6 times in those games, either on the ground or through the air. Coming off a game where he didn't get a touchdown against the Steelers, and they're coming back over. And so far, we consider our second home. There's a lot of stories within the stories in this game. And I can almost guarantee that Deebo's going to at least get targets in the red zone, an opportunity to score. And getting it at plus odds anytime with the guy that we typically depend on in the red zone is just a bonus. Ayuk has now become our primary wide receiver. So I feel like we can do more gadget stuff with Deebo going forward. And then obviously Christian McCaffrey is going to be a threat as well. So he almost comes in undervalued in this spot with the history against this team and then how he's played over the last year and a half. And with the weapons we've got now, I think there's some value there to take it.
I might have to take that Deebo prop +135 odds. That's real juicy. I like that a lot.
That's why it's like, man, I don't know if the bookkeepers know something we don't, but
They
it's
usually
like,
do.
but I agree with you though, because Deebo is the perfect red zone threat. He's a great red zone weapon at the very least, even if he is being undervalued. And it is almost like I'm really hoping because it's an overreaction to week 1. And that's why we're getting such good odds, like you said, on that. Because you're right. The history with Deebo, if I remember correctly, I mean, he has dominated them for the most part in his past. So
Yep.
I do like that player bet.
He trolled Aaron Donald to his face. That is balls, man. I'm telling you. Like, Aaron Donald, I've never met him, probably never will meet him, and he scares me through the TV. Like, that clip of Geno saying, "Oh my God," resonated to me because I always show people there's a clip of him just like choke slamming Zeke. And Zeke is not a small guy. I get it. He's not tall, but like body size wise, he's like 230, 235. And he comes through and he just picks him up with one arm and just bloop, drops him like I'm playing with my son. And I'm just like, that is a terrifying human being.
That is. I'm glad he, plays football and not anything else.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine what he'd be doing if he wasn't a football player.
Yeah. Got to keep him happy. That's how big he is.
He's actually, I was watching The Longest Yard. It was on TV the other day. He's the big dude that they get from lockup who's always banging his head up against the wall. That's Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see the clips of him training with knives and stuff? Like, he really is like not all up here. Like, something's off, like, for sure. And then to think that you had him and Sue on the same team on the defensive line. That had to be terrifying in practice. Like, you never know. Like, are they mad at me? Are we cool? We're on the same team, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's funny. I bet it brought a very good practice though with that competitiveness.
Yeah, no, they were a much better offensive line then, for sure.
Yep. But all right, Alan, we got to get you out of here, man. So why don't you go ahead and plug a few things, and then you can go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah, check me out on Tuesdays with my I know why I'm drawing a blank, but check me out on my podcast on Tuesdays on the Fantasy Six Pack. And then Thursdays, I typically have a segment between, I think it's like 11:20 to 11:40 Eastern time on the Inside Drive. I do some gambling stuff for them as well. Awesome. And that's ESPN Radio.
All right. Awesome, Alan. Thank you. You're welcome back anytime, my friend.
Absolutely. Actually, I expect you back. You have a good one, Alan, and good luck in your bets today, man.
Thank you.
All right, now time to bring in the ranking guru. What's up, Joe? How's it going? How's your Sunday?
Oh, hanging in there. Trying to figure out all these inactives and everything else already. So it's good going, man. It's a typical crazy Sunday.
Oh yeah, knock on wood, less injuries.
Yeah,
I mean, we had some out the gate, but I mean, week 1 was just a tragedy.
Yep.
But Dylan, this is your segment. Take it away with your questions.
All right, right on. Joe, let's jump right into things. And the first guy I want to talk to you about is our quarterback that we have on the list. And that is Mr. Daniel Jones going against the Arizona Cardinals. And it is a very good matchup, but he had a rough time against a good Dallas defense last week. ECR on our website between our 6 rankers has Daniel Jones at QB 12. Joe, you have him up as QB 10, so a top 10 guy. So it seems like you're pretty confident in him. Is it pretty much matchup based here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that he's not going to have a bounce back game against the Cardinals. I cannot foresee them playing as bad as they did against the Cowboys. That game got out of control super fast, and you could just tell that team was just, we're done. They gave up. It was pretty rough. So yeah, I mean, it's a great matchup. Just roll with it if you've got him.
Yeah, it's just not always great watching the games when you have Daniel Jones as your quarterback, just because he just kind of is what he is at this point, But heading on over to the running backs now, the first guy we have is Dameon Pierce, running back of the Houston Texans. And our ECR on the website, he is ECR RB16. Joe, you have him down to RB20. He's playing the Colts. So what's your thoughts here?
that Houston offense was pretty rough last week, man. Now granted, I know they had a tougher matchup. He just didn't really seem to get things going. So I don't have, really good feelings about Dameon Pierce. Projections come in right around there. So I kind of just left him where the projections popped in. Okay. And I mean, there's a lot of dudes that, I would gladly start ahead of him. He's still RB2, so you're probably using him. But I mean, you didn't like what you saw. I mean, 11 rushes. Granted, game script took him out of it pretty quickly, but 11 for 38. Yeah. He's not really involved in the passing game. I mean, 3 targets, that's okay. But we need to see more. I mean, maybe he'll get things going against the Colts a little bit more, but you don't feel great about it.
Yeah, when you're playing Dameon Pierce, you're hoping game script can go his way, and it being a closer game. And against the Colts this week, I think that's kind of what you're banking on, is them staying in the game and being able to use Dameon Pierce a little bit more, because you're right, he needs to get his touches to get going as a bigger running back too. And he should be getting 15 carries a week. It would be nice to see. Next guy here we have on the list, Joe, is James Conner, Arizona Cardinals. ECR RB17 on our site. Joe, you have him as a borderline RB1 this week. You have him as RB13. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's workload, man. He saw the second most number of snaps as a percentage-wise for the team in last week, only behind Christian McCaffrey. He sees a ton of routes. He sees a ton of targets. Yeah, he actually didn't see as much of the rushing percentage attempts as I thought. Like Keontae Ingram actually took 21%. And of course, quarterback scrambles, with Dobbs took a little bit away too. But I mean, that workload is pretty tasty. And, I don't know. I mean, the Giants were run on pretty good there. So, I think Arizona realizes that they're going to stay in games, they're going to have to lean on James Conner a little bit. So that's why I like him.
Yeah.
Projections are actually a little higher on him. So I moved him down a little bit because it is still Arizona. So there is that will they actually score type of deal. But the Giants did not look good last week. So maybe Connor can get things rolling.
Sure, that makes sense. And there's not too many backfields where there is just one guy there. And James Conner is definitely the guy in the Arizona backfield.
Pretty much.
Let's jump over to the wide receiver position now. And this is a big name here that I threw on the list this morning. We got Davante Adams. He's ECR wide receiver 8 after a mediocre week 1. Joe, you have him as a top 5 guy, wide receiver 5. What are your thoughts here?
No Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers was unbelievable last week. I did not expect that from him. Caught obviously, it was 2 touchdowns, right?
Yep.
It was just amazing. Yep. He saw 38% of the target share there, actually more than Davante Adams. I mean, when was the last time Davante Adams actually was out targeted? Not very often.
You can probably thank Patrick Surtain for that. He locked him down for the most part.
Either way, man. But Davante Adams is still Davante Adams. I mean, he is absolutely legit. So without Myers there, I mean, Renfro is going to get back involved. But we saw what happened last year with Davante Adams and Renfro. It's all Adams. So I expect a heavy dose of Davante Adams and of course Josh Jacobs this week.
Yep. He is going to draw a tough cornerback in Tre'Davious White against the Bills, but you'd like to think that this game is going to be a little more fast-paced and a little bit high scoring, so that should work in Davante Adams' favor there. The next guy we have, and this is going to make Mike LaPlant happy, is Mike Williams. ECR wide receiver 23. Joe, you have him as a wide receiver 17. That's we kind of know how big Mike is. He's a little boomer bust. So this week you're thinking maybe more boom, huh?
Less bust?
Yeah. It's this one's a little bit more matchup based too. I do like the matchup here. For some reason I'm totally blanking on who they're playing right now. I do know I like it. But I was looking at something else and you kind of
Tennessee. Yep, they're getting Tennessee.
Yeah. So I mean I think the thing you look at there, right, is no Eckler. So yeah, Josh Kelly did some good things last week, but can you really rely on Joshua Kelly to carry the load like an Austin Eckler? Probably not. right? So you get a little bit more heavy dose in the passing game through obviously Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams will benefit as well. The Tennessee secondary not very good. So
it's their defensive front, and it's hard to run.
The defensive
front
is pretty good.
Yeah,
so I might have a rough go of it today, even though I do like him.
It's volume based,
especially in DFS. I like Kelly. He's only, I think he's 5K on DraftKings.
Yep, that's correct.
So that to get an RB1 in an offense like that, even though it is a fairly tough matchup, that is a smash cash play. I'm sure Chris and Dave will talk about that. But little sneak preview there. I'm sure that's coming.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So I've got him up there in my rankings, but Mike Williams and Keenan Allen get a boost as well. This offense is just going to be too good this year.
Yeah, right on. I agree there. It's going to be very solid. The last guy we're going to finish up with is the tight end that we're going to talk about, and that's David Njoku of the Cleveland Browns. Doesn't have to play until Monday against Pittsburgh. He is ECR, tight end 9. Joe, you have him all the way down to tight end 13. A little bit worried about Njoku here, huh?
This one's tough because we're still kind of hoping we hear a little bit more about Amari Cooper. I don't know if we're going to get the news today, unfortunately. Look, the weird thing is Harrison Bryant was, targeted a lot. He wasn't on the field as much, but he didn't run as many routes, but like they just didn't utilize Njoku in the passing offense as much as I was expecting. Look, that could be a week-to-week thing with tight ends. Tight ends are crapshoot, right? After Kelsey's and Andrews and stuff like that. But if we knew Cooper was going to be out, I probably would bump him up a couple spots, but we don't know yet. So I'm kind of playing the middle game here with it and just thinking, okay, and look, the running backs kind of rule that offense is what it comes down to. Still, Watson still didn't look very good last week. Granted, that weather was atrocious in that game, but it's hard to trust Njoku much higher than that. He could go up a couple spots, but that's about it.
Yeah, no doubt. I get that for sure. But Joe, I know you're a busy man, so I want to get you out of here. You got anything to plug before you head out, though?
No, just you guys said it already. Jump over there and become a member. So you can check out the full rankings and get all the advice through the Discord. There's already a bunch of questions over there I got to go help answer. So you guys do your thing and have fun, guys.
Perfect, Joe. Thank you. Good luck in your matchups.
Yep, good luck. And in the rankings.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Joe. Peace. All right. Now, the meat of the show. Let's welcome on Jordan. How's it going, Jordan?
We've all been waiting for.
Yes, sir. How we doing, guys?
Fantastic.
Good, Jordan. How you
Good.
doing?
I don't know if you noticed. I no longer have the cord. I upgraded to the 21st century and the headphones.
Right on.
So
at least you can get your headphones to work
rock.
this morning. You weren't here pre-show, but I was absolutely having a nightmare. That's why we were a few minutes late this morning.
These are brand new. First time I've used them, so hopefully the streak continues.
Right on.
Yep, Dylan's over there with naked ears.
Yep. I feel so naked. Don't have my huge earmuffs on.
All right, we know you guys that have been watching have been waiting for this part of the show. We've been taking note of your start-sit questions there, and we're going to get to yours first. So, guys, if you have any other start-sit questions, put them in the chat now because we're starting that segment right now. All right. Our first one was Dion over on Facebook watching. And he wants to know, he needs 2 this week. He's got Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, and Cortland Sutton. So,
Jordan, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, Jordan.
Let's see here. So, Mike Evans here. So, who's Tampa Bay got today? They got Chicago.
With some possible crappy weather.
Chargers, Tennessee, and then Denver. Okay. I'll go Mike Evans and Mike Williams here today. I think Judy coming back is going to take away just enough of the work where I'm a little sketched out about starting like really any of the Broncos pass catchers, even Judy himself, just like kind of see how it plays out this week. So I'll go with the 2 Mikes.
I'll take it here, and I contemplated that as well. Although if you were listening earlier, when Alan was on, he was talking about that Seahawks-Lions matchup and how many points they scored last year. So, I mean, I kind of lean Lockett in this one with Mike Williams. You know, kind of I'm piggybacking off of both Alan and Joe, since they're both kind of fans of them this week. So I do agree, though. I'd go with Lockett and Mike Williams in this one. The weather scares me off from Mike Evans in the Tampa Bay game. If it's just crappy weather, rain, it's not going to be great for passing the ball.
Yeah, I don't like agreeing with Mike ever, but I'm going to agree with him here and go with Lockett and Mike Williams myself as well.
All right. Well, it looks like their hell has frozen over. All right. So on to the next one here. We got a good friend of the show here, Bob Dole. Bob Dole, he wants to know, do I double up on Mike Evans by playing Godwin too? Or should he play Lockett or maybe like Breece Hall on the flex? So I'll start off here, and I'm one that does not like to double up in an offense. You are really capping your ceiling by playing two of the. I mean, now granted, if you're getting an offense like the Chargers or like even the Dolphins, getting the top two options, different story. We're talking about the Buccaneers here, though. So you got Baker throwing him the ball, so I don't think I'd be doubling him up, and I would probably play it the safe route and go Lockett just because of Breece Hall's matchup this week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna lean Lockett here as well.
Yeah, adding to what you said, I don't mind necessarily doubling up players at different positions, like a running back and receiver. But I'm the same way. I don't like to start two wide receivers or two running backs at the same backfield.
Sometimes I don't even like starting a wide receiver and a tight end from the same offense.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that there, definitely. So let me make sure I understand this question. So is he saying for sure that Godwin is in? He's debating Evans or Lockett?
I'm not sure which one he said he was going to be playing. I just I assumed it was Chris Godwin. No, that was
okay. Okay, so I would start Godwin here, and then if it's down to Evans, Lockett, or Breece Hall, I think I'm going to go Breece Hall. And then again, my Dallas defense looked pretty solid last week, didn't they?
They did. And he's coming in on a light workload. It's not like he's getting the full because here's the thing. It's you like Joe was talking about earlier, like Josh Kelly, he may not be great efficiency wise this week, which is probably going to be true, but he's going to get a great amount of volume. And that's kind of what's not working in Breece Hall's favor right now, at least early in the season, is he doesn't have the volume to boost up a bad matchup like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think in this situation, it's funny since I just took Evans over Lockett, but assuming that Godwin is in the starting lineup, I'll go Lockett here as well, too, just to avoid doubling up the two Tampa Bay receivers here.
Gotcha. All right. Dylan, did you give an answer? You said Lockett, I believe?
Yep. I want Lockett.
All right. Next, we got AKA Bash here. Thank you for joining us again, man. I remember you last week. And appreciate you enjoying the stream. We enjoy answering your questions. So he wants to know, can you put these players in order for me with I do not know how much you're looking to start here. So we'll just rank them in order for you then. All right. Zay Jones, Michael Pittman, Jahan Dotson, Romeo Doubs, James Conner, and Rashad White. Dylan, you can
number one for me is Pittman.
Oh.
I'll go Pittman first.
Okay. That's spicy. I like that with the rookie quarterback.
You can say, I think they're going to have a decent day against Houston. I was encouraged by how Anthony Richardson looked last week. I think they're going to have a good week this week.
I agree.
I mean, he did against Houston too. Go ahead, Mike.
I lean Rashad White first in this one. Juicy matchup against the Bears, who allowed what was it, the third most RB points, or
the Dolphins Aaron Jones have a day?
Yeah. AJ Dillon, on the other hand, did not.
It was more so through the air, so that could lean Rashad White's way as well.
So and he's the starting running back there. Juicy matchup, so you get volume and you get a matchup where, in my opinion, your volume's your floor, your matchup determines your ceiling, and this matchup is great for a ceiling for Rashad White. So I lean him just as my number one, and then I do go. I actually lean Jahan Dotson as my number two after Rashad White, but then Pittman's third.
All right now. Yeah, I would probably go when we all have different top guys here. I would go James Conner, kind of for what Joe was alluding to earlier, is the volume.
He gets volume.
That he's going to get. So I think I would go Conner, and then I would go Rashad White, Pittman, Dotson, Zay Jones, and Dobbs in that order for me.
And I'll go Pittman, Connor. We'll go Dobbs, Dotson, and then who do we have left here?
Rashad
White, and then Zay Jones.
Yeah, the weather I saw, it's supposed to be rainy and a little bit windy in Jacksonville for this game. So the weather in the Kansas City Jacksonville game might not be great. So that scares me for guys like Zay Jones. And it makes
another thing I was
Kirk.
reading on this game here too is they're supposed to, the defense they're playing this week is a lot more man-to-man focused, and on those situations, Christian Kirk eats. Like he's much more effective on man defenses than he is against zone. So this could be a big Christian Kirk this week. So
you'd start Christian Kirk over. You start Christian Kirk over Zay Jones this week, huh?
I am in one league, yeah. So I'm hoping so. After
I just wanted Dylan to hear that from another person.
I think Peterson even came out and said that we got to get him going this week.
And he's going to get closer to the line of scrimmage targets as well. And when it's a little bit windy and when it's wet, that's what you want to do. So,
I mean, it was a great segue though to our next question though, because George Play wants to know JSN or Zay Jones in a non-PPR. In a non-PPR, that's what makes it a little bit more interesting because those ones you're just going off of yards and touchdowns. All right, and who do you think could probably get more yards and touchdowns in this game, even with bad weather? I mean, I'm worried. I love the firework potential in that Seahawk Lions game, but I am like with us, at least with me being more on Lockett this week. I actually lean Zay Jones in this question.
The Lions aren't really the defense they were last year either. They're different. Aiden Hutchinson seems like a dude over there, which is nice. So this one really is tough. And I'm struggling on who to go with here. Obviously we saw Zay Jones catch the touchdown last week. Is he going to catch one back-to-back weeks? It's a little tough. So maybe that's why I would lean JSN here. But it's very, very close.
I agree. This one's super close. I'll go JSN as well. I would say this, like if this is like your last flex spot in like a 16-team league and like you need like 8 points guaranteed, like probably go Zay Jones. But I think JSN
that's why
have like a Jordan Addison type week where he catches a deep one, goes for a touchdown, and then all of a sudden he's up to 15, 16 points. And usually my flex spots, unless it's something where like I said, I got to have those points on like a Monday, I'm chasing upside most of the time. I'll go JSN here.
I don't play in many standard leagues, but when I do, it's like I tend to go a lot more the safe route just because you can really bomb in those standard leagues by, not getting any points. So that's why it's like I almost feel safer just getting those solid 8 points from Zay Jones. You know what I mean?
You don't want the Dallas Goedert game on Thursday.
Exactly.
6 catches for 20 yards.
You can get 16 from JSN, but you can easily get that 0, that goose egg. So that's what I'm more worried about with non-PPR. If it was PPR, I am feeling a little bit more safe with JSN because he'll probably get peppered over the middle, being in, rotating in the slot there. But non-PPR, I do lead Zay Jones. All right. And then from Facebook, we got Jose here. He wants us to pick one for his flex. Now, Dion answered his question, so I'm curious how our answers vary, if they do. But he's got Joshua Kelly, Chris Godwin, Zay Jones, or Michael Thomas in a full-point PPR.
I think you go Joshua Kelly here. I just think he's a lot safer than all these guys on the list you're dealing with, whether with Chris Godwin, whether with Zay Jones. Not doing Michael Thomas.
What weather with Michael Thomas?
There isn't anything there. It's just there's just other stuff there for me. So give me Joshua Kelly.
So yeah, this is tough. It came down to Josh Kelly and Michael Thomas for me.
At least I like that.
I'm gonna go Michael Thomas here, man. Monday night against a defense that's I don't think a great defense. As long as he's healthy, last week I said I think as long as Michael Thomas is healthy and the Saints offense is kind of looking decent, at least I think I got to roll with him. Especially, this one said full PPR. Yeah, so I'll go Michael Thomas here. Same thing is kind of with the JSN, man. I want that upside.
If I remember correctly, I saw that J.C. Horn's going to be out for an extended period amount of time too. So
he had like an operation.
Yeah, so they're down another cornerback in that secondary. So, Michael Thomas could take advantage of that. Now,
I don't know if you guys said this already earlier, but apparently Deonta Foreman is a healthy scratch. So if you have any deep leagues and he's in your flex, get him out.
We did not see that, but I'm super excited about that.
Actually, I got that text message earlier
Roschon.
this morning. Yeah, I got that text earlier this morning from this goofball.
Sorry, it's only like 8 in the morning here. It's just barely getting started.
Dude, all it took for the Bears to realize that Roschon Johnson is a dude was 1 week and him trucking Rudy Ford. So that's nice. I like that a lot. He just does everything so well. If you need him to play on special teams, he'll play on special teams. You need him to pass block, he'll pass block. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield.
He was like top 5 PFF graded pass blocker last week for running backs too, like right away. I'm like, man, he's
You said top 5? That's that's awesome.
Yeah.
Calm down the hype train.
I can't.
I don't want you to get disappointed like last week, Dylan.
I'm gonna be.
No, I don't think I ever answered this question, but my answer is Joshua Kelly. It's just the volume.
You guys aren't worried about that Tennessee defense? The run defense?
I am.
Yeah.
I am worried. It's not, and I've already said it. It's not going to be an efficient day. I mean, they held Jamal Williams to 2.7 yards per carry last week.
This feels like one of those games as a Dallas fan that's like, all right, man, Kellen Moore is about to dial up like 50 pass attempts for Herbert, and he's just going to spread it all over the yard out there. Like, yeah, I'll go Thomas here.
And I'm sure Dave might even talk about this. I mean, I'm surprised Alan didn't talk about it a little bit, but like Josh Kelly for an anytime touchdown this week is probably like the easiest bet of the week, just because of when they do get in the red zone, they tend to use Eckler, which, I mean, Kelly's in that Eckler role. He may not be efficient, but he's probably going to score a touchdown this week, guys.
Yeah, Alan probably didn't bring that up because I actually looked this morning at a Josh Kelly anytime touchdown is -130, so the odds weren't.
That's why.
They're expecting him
because they know it. They know it. I mean, the bookkeepers know that he's going to score a touchdown just as well. So it's like you get a solid floor with Kelly. And now Michael Thomas, he does offer you a little bit more of a ceiling being PPR, but I think Kelly's just a safer play, especially in the flex. You can't go wrong with an RB.
Side note, Tyler just brought in a comment, and I'm riding with you with DJ Moore again, and I felt your pain last week.
Tyler,
that's my guy there. Yeah,
I love you, Tyler. Always coming in here with those DJ Moore takes. It makes me laugh every time, especially after last year with how out we were on him.
And then he right when we thought I was out, he sucks me right back in.
Ready to get hurt again, baby.
Sounds about right. All right, on to the next one here from Albert. He wants to know: Miles Sanders after an abysmal week or David Montgomery and a half-point PPR? I mean, this one's for me. I think Miles Sanders is going to, probably at the end of the year, probably provide you more value than what David Montgomery is going to provide you early season because they're still easing Jahmyr Gibbs into the workload. So I still think Montgomery gets, like a solid 50% rushing share against the solid matchup against the Seahawks. So I'd lean Montgomery in this one.
Oh, go Montgomery here. This one's tough.
Sanders gets the volume, 100%. Yeah, he does.
I thought I was gonna be on an island here because my gut was leaning Montgomery here too, but I think that's the way I'm going. Just feel better about that role. Anytime they get within the 5 yards, he's gonna be the one that's getting those touches there. Even if he doesn't have a super efficient day, like last week, he can still put up double-digit fantasy points just off the volume. Give me Monty here.
And Sanders got a tough matchup against the Saints. So I mean, they held the
underrated
Titans,
defense for sure.
Yeah, they held the Titans to under 100 rushing yards, didn't they?
100 yards and 15 points or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, the Saints defense ain't no slouch either. Where I know you're, kind of a partial Seahawks fan, Jordan. I know you're, hardcore Cowboys fan, but I know you living in
the Northwest,
you
kind of tugging on my heartstrings a little bit.
Exactly. So I know that run defense ain't the greatest. So Monty could definitely take advantage. Monty could definitely take advantage of it. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a good 4 to 5 yards a carry, maybe a touchdown or two. If it is high scoring. So Dylan, are you leaning the same way with us or? You're muted. I think we can't hear you.
Oh no, rookie.
His voice came back.
Put $1 in the jar. But I'm leaning with Dave Montgomery with you guys. I am in on a Jahmyr Gibbs bounce back this week, and I'm playing him in DFS some tournaments. Hopefully, it helps me win $1 million. But I could. That doesn't mean I'm out on David Montgomery this week, especially in redraft. He's gonna get 15 to 18 touches, and hopefully he falls into the end zone here. And like you guys said, Miles Sanders is not a great matchup for him.
No, and he's a volume-based RB. It's not like we're expecting him to break off a 70-yard run. So it's volume that, kind of lifts him up. And he gets it, don't get me wrong, but against a bad matchup, you got a rookie quarterback where they're probably going to stack the box on him. So it's not great for Miles Sanders this week, guys. Thank you, Bob Dole. You're the best.
We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you.
Trying to do it hard here, but
defense question. Try to do like Coco Goff. Love you guys.
There we go. That would have. I don't know. I was trying to do it the opposite way. That makes a lot more sense. I was struggling.
That's funny. We got our first defense question. Dion goes, I started Washington defense last week, and that one struggled a little bit with the Cardinals.
Okay.
So he picked up picked up the Browns this week to go against the struggling Steelers offense. Now he wants to pick up Indy or Houston just for an ugly game. What defense you guys want to go with here?
Indy. Okay, they're playing each other. I think if these are my only two options here, I'll go with Indy just because I feel more confident in Anthony Richardson having a big game than CJ Stroud, especially if he's got a little bit of a sore shoulder. Like, we don't know how big of an issue that is, but rookie quarterback, sore shoulder, if it's anything at all. I think that could be a pretty ugly day for that offense. We saw last week, Dameon Pierce couldn't get anything going. If you're telling me CJ Stroud isn't 100%, like, that's not going to get any easier. I'll go the Indy defense, but ideally, I don't want to start either of these defenses if I can avoid it.
Yeah, I'm with Jordan there for everything he said. I'm gonna slightly go Indy, but it's not like they're a turnover machine defense or even a sack machine defense. So it's tough there. But with the rookie, with Stroud starting, and you said he's banged up at his throwing shoulder, nonetheless, I think give me Indy here.
Yeah, and it's between Indy and Cleveland for me. Now I'm just gonna lean what I'm actually doing this week, and I'm playing Indy.
Cleveland got
Pittsburgh. Now the thing, it's not a bad option after seeing what they did last week, but I mean,
game, like, how real is that though?
I looked at it, and I mean, dude, Tomlin owns the Browns, so like I fully expect Pittsburgh to put up more of a fight than they did last week, even with Deontay Johnson out. It's a much better matchup. I mean, they don't have the Niners down their throat, so. I lean Indy in this one just because you get the rookie quarterback and CJ Stroud. And if he plays, I mean, you like you said, you got the, a little bit of a banged up shoulder. And then best case scenario, let's say they rest him, you got Davis Mills out there now. So I'm going with the Indy defense here. Yep. And now Joe, I mean, come on, man. he's asking the same question I was asking him pretty much the other day, except I just had some better backups here. Amari Cooper plays on Monday night, guys, and not everybody has the luxury to wait for that news to come out. So, Joe's kind of wondering what everybody else is wondering, like me. Do you just kind of risk it for the biscuit, hope Amari Cooper plays, he's not a decoy, or you play it safe and just, play the backup who's playing today? He's got Tony, he's got Boyd, he's got Gallup, or Josh Palmer.
I have unfortunately had to make this decision myself. I have Amari Cooper. I was checking last night, and unfortunately 8 different leagues. And I had to make the decision that I'm benching him this week. He already had an injured groin last week. Sounds like he re-aggravated that same thing there. Amari Cooper, man, like, with the Cowboys, he didn't miss a lot of games, but there was a lot of games he came in for like one snap, and then we never really saw him again. He caught one pass early on like a 5-yard in, and then he never came back again. Ideally, and luckily for me, in like 2 or 3 of the leagues, they're tight end premium, and I have David Njoku, so I'm just going to kind of ride it out, and then worst case, I'll throw him in last minute. But if you don't have a Monday backup, I'm trying to find somewhere to go Sunday, someone on Sunday that we can bring in here. If these are my options here, I'll go Tyler Boyd and a Bengals bounce back.
Wow, I didn't expect to see Tyler Boyd, but you guys probably aren't going to expect to hear what I have to say either. Give me Kadarius Toney here.
It's Tony.
I was going between those two.
Mm-hmm. Let's hope for a bounce back. Like we talked about, it's raining. They're going to want to keep the ball closer to the line of scrimmage, and that's where Kadarius Toney shines. Mm-hmm. So I think you get the ball in his hands as long as he catches it. As long as he catches it.
Getting the ball in his hands is the problem.
And let him go. So I think Tony is shooting for the stars, and I think that's the way you should go here, Joe. That's me.
I got Tony in a couple leagues. I mean, why not take the flyer in the draft at him? My whole thing is with this is like, what's the quality of the backup you're bringing in, to be safer as an option than Amari Cooper? And in these options, I honestly look at it, Joe, and I know I talked to you about who my backup is. Like in this decision I'm going with, it's like, do I play Amari Cooper or do I play like Michael Thomas, who I have sitting in the wings? Like, I look at Michael Thomas and compare him to Tony, Boyd, Gallup, and Josh Palmer, and it's like, I would play Thomas over all four of those guys. It's much safer.
Yeah.
This one, though, you don't have a lot of safe options here. Like, I lean Dylan's route here, and if you want to go with it, you don't feel safe about Cooper, go with Tony, because I do think that after that week last week, Andy Reid knows how to get his players more confidence. And how do you get them more confidence when you can't catch the ball? Give them short passes in a rainy game, just like Dylan said. So personally, I mean, this is a risky one either way because you don't have solid options behind you. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, though, in this one, I actually think you're risking it more going with Tony than Amari Cooper, because I do think if Amari Cooper plays, he is a staple of that offense, of that passing offense. And you can pass on the Steelers.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I feel like Travis Kelce coming back, I feel like they're going to lean so heavy on him.
They may.
Pacheco.
They may.
Especially if it's going to be bad weather. I can see why. I mean, Tony can get 2 touches and have 2 touchdowns and 120 yards. We've seen it before. But I don't know, man. I'm in on this Bengals offense. Tyler Boyd, especially PPR here, I think all he's going to need is 3 or 4 catches. And same thing, he's going to have a lot of space to operate with those other 2 receivers out there. I don't see the Bengals struggling like they did last week. I think that Joey Burrow is going to come back and he's going to have a big week this week. So, yeah, I'll go Boyd, but I don't feel great about it.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about a third option in the offense right there. Tony's probably the second, third option. Josh Palmer is the third, fourth option. Joe did bring up a good point about Gallup. Cooks is out, so essentially he's the number 2 receiver, so I can kind of see that. But at the same time, like, I haven't seen enough from Gallup to see him as a safer route.
He looked more explosive last week, but didn't get a lot of work.
And the matchup, and the matchup's brutal against the Jets. And
I mean the Jets allowed. Jets allowed a decent amount of passing yards last week. I mean, Sauce Gardner.
I think they were a little shook, though, man. I think that was kind of like they were, kind of a.
Agreed.
How do you come back on that?
And mostly it was Stephon Diggs, and it's Michael Gallup's not Stephon Diggs. If someone's going to excel, it's probably going to be CeeDee Lamb.
That's actually what I looked at, because when we talked about our show on Friday, it's like, you asked me who out of this offense do you think's going to be a smash hit, and I think it's only CeeDee Lamb this week, just because CeeDee Lamb is pretty much the same type of receiver as Diggs. They're both fantastic route runners, and if Sauce Gardner struggled against that, he's going to struggle against CeeDee.
Yep, agreed.
All
Pull
right,
the next one up for you, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We got Puka Nacua, who has that oblique injury, but, he was the waiver wire darling this week. Darnell Mooney or Allen Robinson. The corpse of Allen Robinson is back, guys, with Deontay Johnson on the IR. Dylan, I'll let you go first since it's your brother.
I think it's Nacua. The injury worries me a little bit, but give me Nacua here. You're not going to beat the 49ers on the ground. The only way to attack this defense, in my eyes, is through the air. So Nacua should see a decent amount of work. It's close with Allen Robinson with me, but that Browns defense that they're playing on Monday night is legit too. So I don't love that. So I think give me Nacua here.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go Puka here. The wounds are still way too fresh from all the times Allen Robinson hurt me last year. I don't think I can start him yet. I need to see it more consistently. So I'll go Puka here. But I mean, I will say, like, I did trade away Puka in a dynasty league last week, so I'm capitalizing on the hype. Hopefully, not giving away like a late round gem. But yeah, I'll go Puka here this week.
What'd you get for him, Jordan? Sorry to cut you off, Mike. I'm just curious.
Oh, no, you're good. So it was a super flex league. So one of the teams is looking to get younger. So moved him and Will Levis, and then got back Matt Stafford for my QB2 spot and Gabe Davis.
Oh, cool.
Like a deep flex.
Gabe Davis.
I was going to say, you sold Dylan. You said Gabe Davis could be giving away Justin Jefferson, and he'd be like, Gabe Davis? All right. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but, team ended up being a little better than I thought it would, so go get that quarterback too in Stafford for a super flex league, and hopefully,
sure, no doubt.
Hopefully, roll.
So I'm a little worried here. You got a rookie with an oblique injury, so that scares me a little bit. Then you get a tough matchup against the Niners. But
rainy day. How are you not going to even mention Mooney, man? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, when Justin Fields can go through 2 progressions without trying to scramble, whether it be the offensive line or him,
yeah,
I'll think about Mooney.
And it's raining. So
yeah, and it's raining. Now, I know you don't agree with it, but I think Allen Robinson is just probably a little safe. Safer, just because he did see 8 targets last week, guys. I mean, he only caught 5 of them for 64, which is not very much, but it is PPR. I know Gary's talking about this. It is PPR. So, I mean, that's 11 points right there. So it's a nice safe floor compared to where you're going off of just 1 week with Puka Nacua. Yes, he got 15 targets, which is fantastic. You earn those targets. But I think if you want to play it safe, Gary, go Robinson. But if you're reaching for the stars, maybe because I haven't seen your score. If you're down from Thursday night, probably go Nacua just because you're going to get more of a ceiling with him, I think. I know it's a tougher matchup, and I said the matchups determine the ceiling. But if you get 15 targets, again, that is just a safer floor.
Yep.
What a weird season it's been. It's already week 2, and we're talking about like Puka and Tutu Atwell being like leading target getters on teams.
Yeah.
Crazy sport.
It's insane. Before we jump into our next questions, just got a couple inactive updates.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is inactive, guys. Make sure you pull him out of your lineup.
Yeah.
CH is active today. CJ Stroud is also active with that shoulder injury. So that's just a few there. They should be filing in more as we go here now that it is 11:30 East Coast. So
I wouldn't be surprised if like Stroud got hit and they're like, you know what, just bring in Davis Mills. No point.
Or if it gets ugly at all. Like
just because it's like, why ruin the kid's confidence? Why get him more injured?
Yep, no doubt.
But Connor's got a good one here.
Oh, sorry. We were talking inactives, Gary, but Andrews is supposed to be good to go.
And I'm rolling with him in a couple leagues, so hopefully he's 100%.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And then, I mean, talking about inactives, actives. We all know that Deontay Foreman's inactive. So I mean, Connor's got a spicy one here. Do you go Roschon Johnson against the Buccaneers or Jamal Williams full point PPR? Trying to look here. Williams plays the Panthers on Monday night.
As much as I love Roschon and want to go here, I'm going to go Jamal Williams. I think he's guaranteed 16 to 20 touches against Carolina on Monday night. Let's hope he gets into the end zone. He actually saw a couple targets last week too, which was nice to see considering he didn't see hardly any last year. So 2 is probably double what his pace was last year. So give me Jamal Williams still here.
I mean, you had it right on the head. He got exactly 20 touches last week. Yeah, safer routes going Jamal Williams, but I mean, basically I want to see one more week of Roschon before we start just plugging him in lineups, without concern, over somebody like Jamal Williams. So go Jamal Williams this week. If Roschon has a solid week as the full-time starter, yes, we're probably going to be starting him over Jamal Williams from there on out.
Yeah, exactly. This is an interesting one. Like I think for this week it's Jamal Williams. But I mean, if you're saying who do I want in week 5, I think you're going the other way and it's Roschon. Because I mean, at that point, then Kamara is back, But I mean, the thing about even though Foreman is inactive, I mean, Khalil Herbert's still there and he's still going to have a role this week.
Yes, and Justin Fields likes to run the ball too himself.
Fields has his share of the running game. So yeah, I'll go Jamal Williams here. I think he's a good bet for a touchdown.
Yeah, especially after that, just poor efficiency game last week against the Titans.
But like Jordan said earlier, that Titans defense is tough.
So I just had to say, Matt goes, Gary, they skipped you. And then
we got to him.
Clayton chimes in. I'd skip Gary too. But on to our next question. Nathan wants to know, are you going Dak Prescott this week against the Jets or Daniel Jones? Who did the Giants against the Cardinals? I mean,
you got to take Daniel Jones, unfortunately. I can't start Dak in the matchup against the Jets.
I was going to say, you got Dak in the league, and who are you starting over him this week?
Big cock Brock. Oops, sorry. This is supposed to be PG-13. Brock Purdy, yeah.
Dylan, you're fine. I mean, it's a tough matchup. I do lean Daniel Jones. I look at the Giants. Dable wants to get back on track. And how did he get this offense back on track last year? He got Daniel Jones, running it some more on some play action boots, and I fully expect that a lot this week against the Cardinals.
Yeah, this one hurts my heart, but I got to go Daniel Jones here too. That Jets defense is top 5 in the NFL right there.
I'm more scared of the line.
Game.
Yeah, I'm more scared of the Jets line. Like their D line, that they terrorized.
Williams legit, man.
They terrorized.
They're good. So I'll go Daniel Jones. Yeah, I have the Giants in an eliminator pool today, so I'm hoping I'm just basically going to pick whoever is playing against the Cardinals every week until I see something different, I guess. So hopefully they do a little bit better.
Even though you were sweating last week with that pick.
Ooh, man, yeah. But the good part is now I don't have to pick Washington again. Like I got my dub with them, and we can move on.
That's true. That's true. You got the easy one for Washington.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then your cousin here, Dylan. Dean wants to know. It's probably in our league that we're doing together. OBJ, or are you starting Jerry Jeudy fresh off that injury?
I think it's Jerry Jeudy fresh off that injury here. I'm all right trusting him. He might be on a snap count. I know Sean Payton did say that he doesn't expect him to be, but Sean Payton's kind of a liar. But
big fat liar.
OBJ didn't see a steady amount of targets. Lamar looked rusty last week. So I think he give me Jeudy here.
Yeah, man, it's Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews time in Baltimore. It's Jerry Jeudy is the answer here, pretty comfortably for me.
It's not comfortable for me, but I will go Jeudy. I hate the injuries, especially plugging him in the week of. But your backup in OBJ, I was high on him. I thought he'd be a little bit better, and he might still be, better in the coming weeks. But he sounds like he's going to be more of a flash in the pan type of player for each week. Like he might get you those long touchdowns, like a Deshaun Jackson type, but then he's not getting more than 3 targets, probably 3 to 5. So I do lean Jeudy. They're probably going to ease him into it with the snap count, but I still think he probably gets just as many targets with that eased in snap count as OBJ.
Well, so, Jeudy was pretty close to playing in week 1, right? It was kind of like a game time.
He was questionable.
I almost wonder if like he could have gone last week and they're like, we'll just play it.
Almost what they did
bring
with
you
Kelce.
Back next week.
Yeah, almost what they did with Kelce. Almost like they have playoff aspirations, but I doubt it. It's the Broncos.
Never know.
All right. Ooh, this one's spicy here, and I know people are thinking about it with Zach Wilson as your starter. Would you bench Garrett Wilson this week for Ramondre Stevenson as a flex, or and then flex James Cook? That's my bad. So it sounds like you're playing Garrett Wilson in the flex here, and he wants to swap him out with Ramondre Stevenson, and then also putting James Cook in there. This is a tough one. Well, this is a tough one because it almost kind of goes back to the Amari Cooper talk we were talking about. Like, what's the quality of your backups that you're going to be putting in for Garrett Wilson? Now, you got the luxury of having Ramondre Stevenson and James Cook as pretty solid backups here. You're not dealing what Joe was dealing with, choosing between Kadarius Toney, Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, and Josh Palmer. So with Zach Wilson, I mean, Garrett Wilson saved his value last week with a touchdown. Otherwise, he had 40 yards receiving. So I do think play it safe this week. Put Ramondre in, put James Cook in. You're going to get guys who are going to get guaranteed more touches than Garrett Wilson, I think, and just a little bit safer floors. If Zach Wilson goes off this week against a solid, very solid Cowboys defense, which I don't think anybody is thinking he will, then yeah, go for it. Play Garrett Wilson next week, but no, I'd be sitting Garrett this week.
I'm with you for everything you said, Mike. I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson and James Cook. I think those are outstanding options that you can
have good options.
Plug in Garrett Wilson. And it's not a great matchup for Garrett Wilson either against the Cowboys defense. They're studs. Who knows if Zach Wilson is even going to have time to drop back and survey the defense.
Has there ever been a team that started off the year like 2-0 and shut out both of their opponents in both games? Because I mean, I think that's a possibility here that the Jets could possibly get shut out.
The 2023-24 Cowboys have.
I love that, Jordan.
Because I mean, it's very possible that they could come out and just hold the Jets to 0 points, just like they did.
No, so for this one here, man, this is tough because like my general strategy, especially early in the year, is don't get cute and start your studs. So like. The first thing that comes to my mind is, all right, who was quarterback for the Jets last year? It wasn't good. And Garrett Wilson,
Joe Flacco,
1,000-yard receiver, man.
That's true.
So part of me says you roll with him. It doesn't clarify if it's PPR here. If you really want to play it safe, I think you go Ramondre and Cook. But I don't know, man. I feel like this early in the years, I think you start your studs. I think you go Garrett Wilson. I mean, what would you be more mad about? Like Garrett Wilson having a 5 in your starting lineup, or you putting him on the bench and him having 120 yards and a touchdown? So I think I'm still going to roll Garrett Wilson here one more week. Start your studs. If it does blow up, which it definitely could against this defense, then I mean, you take your L, you adjust next week. But I think week 2, you still start your studs. He's got a full week to kind of get right with Zach Wilson in practice this week. I'll go Garrett Wilson here.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to put a number on it percentage-wise, what is the percentage you actually think Garrett Wilson gets 100 receiving yards this week? I mean, I put it more towards like the 30-40% range.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say it's under 50. But I mean, still, if you had to put money on one of these guys breaking 100 yards today, wouldn't you still take Wilson over Ramondre or Cook?
I would take Ramondre, actually. The Dolphins allowed the second most rushing yards last week to the Chargers. That's why it's like I really do like Ramondre this week. He's got a juicy matchup against the Dolphins.
Zeke fumbling didn't help his case last week either, so it should hopefully be a little bit more.
Stop giving Zeke 7 targets in the passing game too. That doesn't need to happen anymore.
He's the new Tony Pollard over there, man.
This is a tough one though. It's a tough one. I mean, you got good options either way. So you feel comfortable knowing that you have good options either way. You could be in Joe's position and having to play maybe Tyler Boyd. So you got good options. Just, in this one, when you have good options, trust your gut. If you think Garrett Wilson's going to go off this week, go for him. But if you want to play it safer, in my opinion, go Ramondre and James Cook.
Then just a couple more inactives just rolled through. Christian Watson is out. I think we already expected that. LaPlant, they're also down David Bakhtiari today, too, the Packers.
No, I didn't notice that one. That one sucks.
He's out or he's doubtful?
He's out now.
He was the number one rated pass blocker last week. Didn't allow a single pressure.
That knee is not the same that it was pre-injury. But then you got Joey Bosa active for the Chargers as well. Yeah. Mark Andrews is up, Gary, to put that official for you. CJ Stroud is up. Laramie Tunsil's actually out, so he's missing his left tackle, too.
Give me that Indy defense on that question for sure, then.
Yep. And then Chase Claypool is active. Nobody's starting him, but it says wide receivers will rotate a bit, and that's per rap sheet on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. So
that's funny. All right. The next one. Tyler wants to know. He needs to know if he's playing Kelsey or not. He's got Muth out of the bench. And if Kelsey plays, what's the amount he truly plays? This is one where I will say play your studs. I mean, Muth is a solid backup.
He's good. Yeah, he's great.
He's good.
Low and tight end one.
Yeah, but you play Travis Kelsey. The man lapped all tight ends last year when it came to scoring points. I mean, they're going to get him involved in the game. And I wouldn't be surprised even, maybe it's a low yardage output, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I'm starting.
Could be good to go, Tyler.
Oh, especially 1.5 points for tight end catches. Yeah, definitely Kelsey.
All right. Then Nathan's got another one here. Start Zay Flowers, Jahan Dotson, or Michael Thomas. Standard league, not PPR.
We're still doing it again. I'm going to let it burn me. Give me Zay Flowers. I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, I was all in on Zay last week, and they did nothing to cool that fire for me. Let's go Zay.
Oh, man, it's so hard to trust a rookie. That's my dude, it's hard to trust him this early in the season.
Did you see him last
this
week?
early?
He's so good, man.
Did you see his balls in his hand, man? Did you see his ADOT? Did you see his ADOT?
What did we still put up numbers?
Doesn't matter.
And look what he still did, dude.
2.9.
Okay, so he just has to shake 4 people instead of 3. He'll be all right, man. He's good.
That's my only concern is yes, he's involved, and the volume was there last week because Mark Andrews wasn't there. If you take away the
receiver one there,
if you take away the volume and then keep the same ADOT, it's not as good as a week. That's what I'm kind of more getting at. So I'm worried that Andrews is going to take some of those targets away, which is then going to, cut down that total that he got last week. But it being a standard league, though, I mean, we saw the Baltimore Ravens struggle, so I think it is a possibility that Zay Flowers has the best chance for a touchdown this week. I think Olave is going to eat for the Saints, not necessarily Michael Thomas because J.C. Horn's out. So I'll make it a clean sweep for you, but I feel dirty saying it. Give me Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
I feel
converted
dirty.
him, Jordan. We got him.
Yes.
I feel dirty. I just feel so damn dirty. Travis Petty's got a good one here. Deshaun Watson with possibly no Amari Cooper, or Jordan Love with no Aaron Jones or Christian Watson or Bakhtiari.
Still give me Deshaun Watson.
Damn.
Bad person, might be a bad quarterback still. We're not sure. Jordan Love, especially with the Bakhtiari news, I'm good. You can miss me with that. So give me Watson.
Yeah, I'll go Watson here too. Like the Christian Watson, like that sucks, but like whatever. But the Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones, that's gonna be tough. Like part of the reason like why I had the Packers sneaking in as like the last wild card team is because I thought they're gonna lean heavily on Jones and Dillon.
Sure.
You remove 50% of that equation. I'm not really sure how that offense looks this week. So yeah,
I'm curious.
We'll go Watson.
Because right now, I mean, I'm the resident Packers fan here. That offense runs through Aaron Jones. That's the reason why, in my opinion, Jordan Love got those open looks for touchdowns. Because he didn't have great completion numbers. So it's Deshaun Watson for me. I hope Jordan Love can have another 3 touchdown performance, but without Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones, I mean, Jones had 2 of those touchdowns. So that's what worries me. Deshaun Watson, terrible person. Better play this week, though.
Whatever the line is, the over-under for the Atlanta Green Bay game is, you smash the under there. That game is going to move so fast because each team's still going to just want to run the ball and grind it out. It's going to be totally gross game to watch.
You think it could be like a Bijan coming out party, like just like a huge monster game, or you think it's still a week or 2 away?
I saw an update this morning that said Bijan and Algier are still splitting work. So I think that's what Arthur Smith wants to do, because Arthur Smith likes to make our life hell. So,
and if you're winning, man, it's hard to knock the guy too much, I guess.
I mean, he says that, but yet his career record's below 500. So I don't know if he's winning very much. His last 2 draft picks have been in the top 10. And he's not even using those players. So I don't know if he is winning. I don't know if he is winning.
Man. They're undefeated right now.
For probably the only time this season, they're probably going to be undefeated. I still take the Packers to win, even though they're all down, just because I don't think Arthur Smith is a great coach. He has a great running scheme. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think he's a great coach.
Yeah, I put a little money down on the Packers before all this Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones out here, so that's a bit of a bummer. I got them in a parlay, so hoping for a miracle. We'll see.
Dion says, I'm glad I didn't listen and started Swift Thursday night. That's great, man. Good job there. I definitely answered a Discord question and said not to start I would throw myself under the bus there.
You said what was it, Monty, I think it was, which isn't a bad secondary option.
He's not going to get 28 points, though, unless he falls in the end zone twice.
Like, to be fair, who thought DeAndre Swift, who I love, by the way, was going to get 31 touches? Like, that's and average over 6 yards a carry, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's my guy, but still, that's crazy.
Who thought Boston Scott would get a concussion, and then the only other running back on the roster would get a flag when they threw a touchdown? They're like, you know what? Screw it. Swift's the guy for tonight. It's not Penny. Scott's injured. So I mean, like it was a recipe for Swift's great game, but I mean, it does seem that it needs to be a lot going in his favor for him to go off.
Penny might be dust at this point after all the injuries, especially if they're showing you they don't want to use him. So
true.
I don't know, man. Watch this next week. It's going to be like a Rashad Penny game, and then there's every week's just going to be different. Like I don't know, man. I don't feel good starting any of the Eagles. Like I had DeAndre Swift in my Scott Fishbowl league, and I forgot about it. So when I checked my score and I had him in my lineup, I was like, oh, that is a very nice surprise. But like you don't feel good about it after like how it looked in week 1. Like Kenny Gainwell's going to be back next week. I think that backfield every week's going to be a little bit of a headache.
Yeah. Oh, big time. 100%. But we do have some more questions here, guys. Patrick Smith wants to know, Cortland Sutton or Treylon Burks this week? I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, have you got an official thing yet? I haven't seen him about him.
He's in. He's in.
Okay, he is in. All right.
Well, you're thinking, Mike, I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to go Sutton here. Don't love it, and I'm kind of in on Judy this week with him coming back. But if Sutton can give you 4 catches for 50 yards, 9 points, I think that's more than what Treylon Burks could get you. So give me Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, talking about feeling dirty. This is one of those questions, and I'll go Cortland as well, but don't love either option this week.
Tennessee's got a decent matchup throwing the ball against the Chargers. Now, granted, that was Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle last week. I do think Treylon Burks is going to be the guy you want in this offense, when it comes later in the season, but give me Cortland Sutton for this week. It is a dirty feeling.
Yep.
All right. Dion, he's torn with all these receivers, and it sounds like he's got some decent ones here.
Good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have, but he can only roll with 2. All right, so we got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Michael Thomas, Jerry Jeudy, Gabe Davis, and Mike Evans.
Give me Keenan Allen. Give me Jerry Jeudy here.
Yep, same.
I want Keenan Allen for sure. Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's the easy one for sure.
But it's like, man, do I go against what I normally say and, capping myself by getting 2 receivers from the same offense, or do I play it a little riskier and go Michael Thomas or Mike Evans?
Michael Thomas was the other one I was looking at.
I like I said, I'm trying to avoid Jeudy, in my opinion. I want to see him healthy first before I plug him into a lineup, just to be safe. So give me, and as of right now, we see Michael Thomas is healthy. So give me Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen. All right. Appreciate you too, Wambley. You have a good Sunday.
Have a great Sunday. Good luck in your matches.
All right. I was just about to put that one up. That was funny.
That's fantastic. LaPorta should be close to fully rostered by next week. I like that.
I'm starting him in like 2 weeks.
I was going to say, Jordan, you being the dynasty guy, why don't you give us a little rundown on Sam LaPorta, and if you think he should be like a top 12, top 10 option each week? What do you think?
Absolutely, man. Like, you ready for, I don't know if this is a hot take at this point, but I have one league I'm starting him over Kyle Pitts.
I hate you.
I honestly don't blame you. He's going to see more volume than Pitts.
He is. Yeah. And I like Kyle Pitts. I'm still rolling with him in a few leagues, but I have one league where it's LaPorta or Pitts, and I didn't even really have to think about it this hard. Like, until I see like them actually use, like, the more talented receiver, the more talented profile is definitely Kyle Pitts, but just being stuck in that offense with the coach, like we said, doesn't really want to pass the ball that much. Yeah, give me LaPorta, man. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense. I'd be shocked if he doesn't finish inside the top probably 8 tight ends this year. I think injury is probably the only way that doesn't happen, especially if you're talking about PPR or tight end premium. So I think if you have LaPorta, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah. He saw 5 targets, caught all of them. That was what I liked, is that he got all of his targets. So,
very involved. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Goff, he loves his tight ends. So he always supported Higbee when, he was there with the Rams. So I do like LaPorta, and he's probably going to have a earlier breakout than, people expected. Just, I'm worried when Jameson Williams comes back, as how does that affect him?
I think it makes it easier for him. I think it gives him more room to operate, honestly.
You're not wrong. That is a possibility there if he's clearing out the middle of the field for him. Just to add on to Dion's question, he had Rashid Shaheed in there as well. I still lean Michael Thomas.
Yeah, if you're starting Rashid Shaheed over any of those guys, I don't think you're going to. I don't mind starting Rashid Shaheed because when he's on the field, he's good. The problem is he only played, I think, 58% of the snaps last week.
Derek Carr likes him too. I mean, he was on 100%. The sideline calling his number.
Did you guys see that clip of him and Mike Davis on the bench? It was like, Sheed on to go. Yes.
Yeah, and Derek's going to send it. If we know anything about Derek Carr, it's him just chucking it up there, and he's going to do it each week. So Rashid Shaheed definitely needs to be rostered if he's not already, for sure.
Absolutely. Just start him when he gets a little bit more time on the field, though.
He's like a good bye week fill, and I feel like when like those heavy bye weeks when people are scrambling, he's a guy that has a lot of upside you can throw in there in those weeks.
Especially with Carr now as the quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then we got Tyler here. He needs a flex for this week. Miles Sanders, Zach Moss, Tyler Lockett, or Drake London. This one's I'm between 2 people. It's between Sanders and Tyler Lockett for me. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I can't. I did get an update in any place that I can this week because I don't trust it. What'd you say, Mike?
Real quick, we did get an update. So all you Amari Cooper owners, he is considered unlikely to play versus the Steelers on Monday. So get him. I'd get him out of your lineups. I'm surprised they were nice enough to give us this update this early.
Once I saw it was a re-aggravation of the same groin on the last notification last night, I was like, yeah, that's not good.
But this is per Adam Schefter, which I trust him.
Yeah,
fair, pretty credible.
Pretty credible. I mean, it is.
Unless you're talking Aaron Rodgers, because
lose my number.
Shefty's not Rodgers' guy.
But yeah, get Amari Cooper out of your lineups, guys. Joe, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to play either Gallup or Boyd for him. Or
Tony. Give me Tony.
Yeah, if you want to chase upside, it's probably more Tony, but I guess he's probably not the safest bet. But this one, I am It's a flex play. I would like to know if this was PPR, because if it's PPR, I lean Miles Sanders. If it's half PPR, I take that back. If it's PPR, I lean Tyler Lockett. Half PPR, I lean Miles Sanders.
I have a slight lean towards Miles Sanders here. I don't love it, but I think that's where I go.
I'll go Sanders here. PPR
Yeah.
or half.
It depends on me. PPR, I'm going Tyler Lockett, half Miles Sanders. But yeah, it's between those two for sure. All right. Dion, you and everybody else unleashing Kamara next week or after next week. Dylan, we do have like 5 more minutes here, but we are out of live questions.
That says Kamara. I thought he misspelled Kendry right there.
Oh, Kendry Miller.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, but we can run through some questions here that we got this morning on Discord. We might as well do that for the Discord people.
Just real quick, does it change your opinion at all between Watson and Jordan Love now for Dion now that Mari Cooper's out? I agree.
No, it just bumps up Njoku and Elijah Moore.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Tyler also said that question was PPR. So does that mean you go Lockett now, Mike?
I would go Lockett, yes.
All right. I'm still sticking with Sanders.
Still Sanders here, yep.
Sanders is safer, but with PPR, I think Lockett has a good chance of scoring like 15 to 18 points this week against the Lions.
But let's do, a little bit of rapid fire here for our questions in the Discord that we got this morning, guys. We touched on it at the top, but I just want to touch on it again. Head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans. Check out our memberships and get in on our Discord. It's all sorts of good stuff over there, so check it out. But from December Underground, he's always in there, chopping it up with us. He's got RB1 is Henry, RB2 between James Conner, Joshua Kelly, and A.J. Dillon. He has Chris Godwin in the flex and DJ Moore, so could slide an RB in there. Kind of prefer wide receivers at the moment. What do you guys think? So it's James Conner, Josh Kelly, or A.J. Dillon.
I'll go James Conner here.
Those are some good options. I mean, considering Aaron Jones is out, and then you got Eckler out, so you got the 2 handcuffs behind them. Man, I don't want to play James Conner when you got those 2 options. Give me Kelly.
I think I'm with the way Joe talked about James Conner. He kind of talked me into it here, but I already answered the question in Discord. And it was before that, and I said Kelly, so I'm going to stick to my original answer and say
it's going to be a little bit better volume with Kelly compared to Conner.
I'm surprised. I don't think I've ever been like the high guy on James Conner in a room ever in my life.
I like Conner.
That's wild.
I like Conner. I think both him and Conner and Kelly have the same amount of volume potential this week. I just think Kelly's on a better offense. That's all.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I think it's a 50 pass Kellen Moore, or Justin Herbert, just crazy week coming.
But let's rip off a few more here, guys. Well, we got a minute. So A.J. Dillon or David Montgomery or Joshua Kelly?
Monty.
I think it's Monty slightly over Kelly for me there.
The volume is to Kelly, but I like Monty just because of that matchup, and we know he's going to be involved. Maybe not as much, but maybe a tick under of what he's going to get. So give me Monty. It's just a safer play. But Joshua Kelly's not a bad backup.
Another one we got Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman. Rank them for week 2, full PPR, trying to find out which 2 to start. So which 2 to start? Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman.
I'm sitting Pittman.
And I'm starting Pittman. I'm starting Pittman.
Wow. Okay,
Pittman got most of his points off of that screen.
Mike Williams.
Pittman got most of his points off that screen. So it was granted a manufactured touch, but I mean, a lot of those yards came from that screen. So that's what worries me is he was one big play away from being a dud last week.
And then last one here, guys. Where do you go? Christian Kirk, Puka Nacua.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Kirk week.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you're sitting Nacua.
We got last one here from Clayton, our buddy. Which 2 should I start this week? James Conner, James Cook, Joshua Kelly, PPR.
The two James.
Give me Cook and Kelly here, I suppose. Mike, where are you going?
Starting to give me Kelly and Conner because I like the volume over James Cook. Give me Kelly and Conner.
Right on. But Jordan,
James Cook's the flashier play, but Kelly and Conner safer, man.
Jordan, it's time for us to get up out of here. So why don't you plug your stuff before you get going? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, X at Dino NFL. I'll have tomorrow morning. We'll have a written fantasy recap, just like I had for week 1. It'll include basically every game except for the Monday game. I'll have a little prediction in there for that. But yeah, I'll do the biggest fantasy recap to take away from every single game. That'll be out tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we are recording the next episode of my Dynasty show. We got another True Value Dynasty trades coming up, and it's all trades that have happened between like the last week of the preseason and now. So it's kind of fun to see like these like early season trades. And like there's been a couple of trades that happened like that week right before preseason and everyone was like, whoa. And then flash forward to now and it's like, oh, that actually doesn't look terrible. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera here. But yeah, so I'll have that coming out Monday, both of those, and catch those on YouTube and on the site. And yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Love it. Make sure you check Jordan's workout, and then you can follow me on Twitter at dclemens2222. Check out my work at fantasy6pack.net. Got a show every Friday as we preview our weekly previews. And then I also have the waiver wire video dropping Tuesday morning along with my article. So make sure you check that out, guys. But Mike, I'm hopping out of here. Everybody enjoy Chris, who's hopping in next.
Oh yeah, I'm going to bring him in. Have a good one, guys. Good luck in your matchups.
See you guys.
All right. And now what you guys have all been waiting for, the DFS portion. All right. We did have a little bit of an absentee here with Dave. Dave Eddy's not going to be here, but we still got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Chris Robbin. How's it going, man?
It's all right. I was laughing in the background because the last guy, they're like, well, we're going to get out of here and enjoy Chris. Right. And instantly, for some odd reason, I'm just being open and honest. Why does that always take my mind to the enjoy Chris? Like we're going to be like, we're going to take a shower together or we're going to go, swimming together. Like let's just enjoy Chris in whatever form or fashion you see is fitting. And yes, as you said, Mr. Eddy is he's jet setting. He's with the fiance, the girlfriend. They're going to New Orleans, as we talked about on the Friday DFS Den. He said, tell the people whatever you want to do. So I don't know, right? He's not listening to this now. He might play it back. I'm not even sure. Is this going to be like one of those? Is he going to propose to her in New Orleans? I don't know what's going on. He didn't mention that. He didn't say anything like that. But most of the time, if you're going to take a trip, somewhere special. I mean, New Orleans is special. I've been there. It's a great city, with your girlfriend, right? Why not? That'd be the perfect time, to propose. And again, if he's throwing all this by the wayside, the live broadcast, everything with Fantasy Six Pack for the weekend, then it must be pretty important. So again, I don't know. Does he come back engaged? I guess we should lay odds for that. And as we get through the show here to talk DFS. So yeah, it'll be me. You're going to be enjoying Chris Robbin, Detroit Beastie here for about 30 minutes or so. Again, Mike, Joe, anybody that's watching this thing, I would love to carry the broadcast for 2-3 hours, but that would take us past the 1 p.m. lock time. And at a certain point, people would just tune out, as they are probably doing right now, because we're just BSing around. So let's get into it, right? Mike, anything you want to say before you split? I know you're going to be in the background, having my back, popping up comments, things along those lines. But how's the broadcast been reading up to this point so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. A lot of people engaging. So I'm really hoping, and I know they're going to engage with you, but I'm going to pop up all those comments for you. And I know you're going to be answering them.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get out of your hair, guys. Make sure you answer those questions, because this is the best time to get in touch with Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
Right.
And here we are. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, enjoy Chris as we are right now. And we'll bring up the full screen. It's a beautiful thing. Hello, I am Chris here with FantasySixPack.net. Go there. All access. You can get that for $9.99, I think, a month. And it's just a beautiful thing to have in your back pocket regarding, waiver wire stuff, redraft questions, and their rankings, even in their headline, right? You have all those icons where they're just consistently ranked in the top 5, top 10 of fantasy pros in rankings. But this is our DFS show. This is our DFS broadcast, and there is a lot to get to. Now, the only difference between last week and this week is it's just me and it's not Dave. And again, I think him and I complement each other very well, but left to my own devices, we're going to run this thing as I see fit. And I'm not going to go through each game player by player. That would take up a lot of time. People would get bored. People would go, they're going to tune out. But so it is what it is. But I I have a few plays that I want to mention. I'll give you the where, the why, the what, the 5 W's, right? As we've learned in, I think, maybe elementary school, middle school, the 5 whys of journalism, things along those lines. So let's start with quarterbacks, right? We go game by game, or we go quarterback by quarterback. And to be fair with you, if you want to read along or play along, you can go back to the website, and you can even use your phone and look at bottom of the barrel. They're all out now. Tight ends came out earlier this morning, and I do want to apologize for the staggering of the articles. Normally, it's so early, it's so new, but it's still hard, and hopefully everybody out there can attest to this. It's tough finding a new rhythm, a new routine, and anything, a new job, a new family, a new wife, a new fiance, whatever it is. It's tough to find that rhythm and that flow, and I'm finding my way here with Fantasy Six Pack and my real life job. This isn't a full-time thing. It's a hobby that I like to do for everybody here. So as we get to it, let's start with quarterbacks, right? And as I mentioned, and I know Dave did as well, I mean, there is just no getting around Josh Allen this afternoon. Buffalo is at home again, and they're playing Las Vegas right now. Vegas 27th overall against opposing quarterbacks. And Josh Allen is one of those. He's an enigma. He's an anomaly, however you want to put it. Does DVP matter? Is that even a thing? I know they didn't get blanked, but if I'm not mistaken, Buffalo only put up 16 points, something like that, in week 1. So it's kind of like, him, and I'll get to Patrick Mahomes briefly, maybe, but they're both 0, collectively, they both lost. So the cream of the crop teams in the AFC are 0-2. How are they going to respond? And I know you're like thinking, well, bottom of the barrel, GPP. Chris, what are we doing talking about Josh Allen? Because he's 9-2 on FanDuel, 7-9 on DraftKings, $39 on Yahoo. He is, and he should be like one of the first moves you make in a cash lineup. In a GPP, you're able to shuck and jive and pivot how you would, and that's where I am going to kind of lend a helping hand here. So Josh Allen, to me, makes for a perfect, cash game or a GPP, however you want to do it, because I have him 24 completions, 270, 280 yards, a pair of touchdown passes, and I think you're going to get around 45 or 50 more yards on the ground with his legs and another touchdown. So fingers crossed, Josh Allen is accountable for 3 touchdowns. Bring that question up if you could, please. Alec Carroll says, would you start Algier over Godwin, Walker the third, or Romeo Dobbs full PPR? And again, look, I'm going to answer this off the top of my head just based on what I've seen so far. So if we lay it all out in front of us, Tyler Algier, Chris Scott over Chris Godwin, Walker the third, or Doobs, Romeo, wherever out there, Romeo full PPR, I would not, right? And when you look at this, Tyler, there's been some things going on social media. Folks are saying that Arthur Smith, the owner in Atlanta, has this weird fixation with Algier, and that's why he saw a ton of work over the rookie Bijan in week 1. And again, same thing happened in Detroit, kind of with Gibbs here. They're just testing the waters, and I firmly believe that Bijan Robinson is going to be just amazing today. Amazing, for Leon for his career. So I would not start Algier. I would start him over maybe briefly Romeo. And I know, again, in Green Bay, Christian Watson is not active, but Jordan Love is going to have to just pull some rabbits out of the hat because they're playing in Atlanta. So Tyler Algier over Godwin, no. Tyler Algier over Walker the third, no. Dobbs. So did I answer the question? Maybe a little bit, maybe not. So let's move on, and we'll talk about quarterback. We'll keep going with quarterbacks here, and I'm going to be mindful of the time as well. It's about 10 after, 9 after, 12 noon Eastern time. And again, I have some lineups to edit. You'll probably have some lineups to edit too. And again, this does not come from a place of homerism, but Jared Goff, how can you not, look his way today, just the Lions in general, right? And again, I don't have a Lions hat on. I don't have a Lions jersey on. We know Detroit beastie. I am in Detroit proper, but to me, Jared Goff, it's just too good to be true. Seattle right now, 31st overall against opposing quarterbacks. Goff 7-3 on FanDuel, 6-2 on DraftKings, only $28 on Yahoo. I shudder to say this out loud because I am very superstitious. I am, jinxy. Is that even a word? I don't want to jinx folks. It's like like saying, oh, look, this guy's pitching a no-hitter. You don't mention a no-hitter while they're involved in a no-hitter, but Jared Goff hasn't thrown an interception in 374-ish kind of passes. It's like getting up there in like an all-time kind of streak. And again, when you look at Seattle's offensive line, or excuse me, defensive line, their tackles, what are their tackles looking like? Their offensive line. Yes. So Detroit's defense is just going to be all in Geno's face, all in Geno's grill. I think we're going to see turnovers, meaning Jared Goff may get an extra possession or two. And given those price tags, given the DVP, I have Jared Goff. We know we're not going to get a ton of usage out of his legs, but 22 completions, 250 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and we'll move on. Let's bring up the next question. Oh my goodness, this is the start sit ranking show I heard so much about. DAP Scout, DAP. Last time I heard DAP is like this. DAP, I'm going to DAP somebody up. This isn't the start sit ranking show. This is the DFS show. You missed out on that one. It ended about 10 minutes ago, but I do my best, Mr. DAP Scout, Mrs. DAP Scout, to do what I can. I answer all questions from a DFS perspective, right? Sure. Do I play seasonal fantasy football, dynasty fantasy football? Yes, but it is so, in a way, in terms of content and broadcasting, that's not my strong suit. I leave that to the other professionals here at Fantasy Six Pack. So if you're into sports betting, if you're into DFS, Mr. or Mrs. DAP Scout, this is where it's at. This is where we're going. And if we go down the list here, Mr. Mike LaPlant, Sean Patrick says Gibbs or Algier. You know what? This one I do want to talk out a minute, right? And I'm going to bring up some projections, if I may. Give me a moment. I'm going to type this stuff in live on air as we're broadcasting, and I'm going to let you make the decision. I've learned long ago, if it's a simple A or B kind of question, I'll give you all the tools and the projections, and you can make your own decision. You know why? Because then you can't come back around and go, Chris, you're an idiot. You're a fool. You told me to start this guy, but that guy went off. So I'm going to give you the projections and let you make the decision. If I need to, point you in the right direction, I will, but let's go from there. So when we look at Gibbs, right, as I said, they're at home, and I do want to say Ford Field is going to be crazy. People wearing ski masks. It's going to be a wild scene. And we already heard Dan Campbell say last week, we held back Gibbs a little bit. Just we wanted to see what he would be like, get him a little bit of a taste here. So when you look at Gibbs, 10 or 11 carries, 45 to 50 yards. So you're looking at a healthy 4.5, 4.6 yards a pop, couple receptions, actually more than that, 3 or 4 receptions for another 35 or 40 yards, and he will find the end zone. And your other question was Tyler Algier. Let me punch him in and see what we have there. So far, so good in terms of what we got for Gibbs. When we look at Tyler Algier, I'm thinking let's just go with 15 to 16 carries. So it's like not redundant or going back on my word with I said with Bijan. I think in a game where Atlanta is playing Green Bay, could it be slowed down a bit because Aaron Jones is going to be out? Is Jordan Love going to want to push the ball? I don't know, but Atlanta on the ground, why can't Bijan see 14, 15 carries too? So Algier, 15 to 16 carries, around 65 to 70 yards, a reception or two for about another 14 or 15 yards. So personally, I'm going to leave my homerism aside here. I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs just based on the fact that the matchup is a little bit sweeter and there is more of a potential for receptions. And if you're playing in a PPR kind of format, in a DFS formatted theme, or in a seasonal format in a PPR league, I'm going to go Gibbs just because there's just something that's going to happen there. And who knows, what if these projections for Algier just go right in the toilet and it's a Bijan game, which hopefully it will be. So as we go on, bring up let's just do this rapid fire question, and I will get in my thoughts on some of my plays, running backs and wide receivers as I see them. And the next one, I've been pronouncing your handle wrong this whole time, Detroit Bestie. You're not the only one. I was on a live broadcast, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, where the guy said it. It's okay. It's okay. It's Beastie. And if you didn't know Beastie, you You can see the jersey, the custom jersey in the background. Beastie is my cat. And I didn't want to go in how my Twitter handle was made on the Sunday DFS show, but it was one of those things where, you're looking at the screen and you're like, you need to come up with a password really quick. You need to come up with an @ really quick. So you look around and I go, well, I'm in Detroit, and I happen to look down and there's my cat Beastie, and Detroit Beastie was born, and I haven't thought about changing it, and I've just run with it. As we go down, Pat Lewis just asked us about 4 minutes ago, Dak or Jordan Love this week? So that's a great question. And when we look at Green Bay is at Atlanta, Jordan Love right now, the DVP, Atlanta's 31st overall against opposing quarterbacks. And when we go and look at Dak, Dak is playing at home against the Jets, and the Jets defense is a whole heck of a lot better than Atlanta. Dak, the DVP there is about 10th overall. Let me type in what I have for my projections here as well. And again, let you make the decision. And I'm going to be quick with these because, again, I can talk and talk and talk. I guess that's like a program manager's dream. You can just fill hours and hours of time. Jordan Love around 20 to 21 completions, 245 yards, 1 touchdown pass, and 4, maybe 5 carries for another 15 yards. And when we look at Dak here, I think Dak, given his defense, is not going to be asked to do much on a week-to-week basis, but this is the week where I would prefer Dak over Jordan Love. 21 to 22 completions, 235, 240 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and around 15 yards on the ground. So give me Dak in that matchup. Shutter it, Beastie. As we go down, Terry Fred Merritt, hello. Thank you for being here this evening. Mostert or Brian Robinson Jr., standard scoring. So again, I answer these questions from a DFS perspective, but there is correlation in a weird kind of way. And I understand that maybe there is a tough transition for folks when you get to start and sit stuff for a few hours in the morning, and then boom, it's just me on the screen and I'm talking DVP and numbers, and it must be like Chinese or speaking another language or something like that. So Mr. Merritt, I'm going to do my best here. Mostert or Brian Robinson? When we look at Mostert, Miami is the Sunday Night Football game, and I just finished my notes for that game. That video, single game slate video, will be out later that day. No harm in a quick little plug here, but Mostert, Miami is in New England, as we all know. That is the Sunday Night Football game. And that the other question was, Mostert or Brian Robinson? Washington, to me, let me get my final score here. I got all these notes and calculations here. I have Miami. Sometimes you have to draw on different things, right? Projections only gets us so far. DVP only gets us so far. So let me answer this question with a different set of, I have Miami hanging like 28 points in this one. So how will Mostert kind of factor into that? I'd imagine he'll score once or twice. And when we look at Washington this afternoon, is Washington in a tougher spot this afternoon? Not necessarily, but I would give me Mostert all day, because Washington is going to Denver. Brian Robinson, that DVP is nasty. Denver 4th overall against opposing running backs. And again, that mile high air can be an issue from time to time. So give me Mostert. To me personally, is the safer bet. And DFS purposes, I would go the same thing, although Mostert and Miami, they're not available on the main slate. So if you're playing main slate, you'd have to go Brian Robinson and Sean Patrick. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Weird to see that Algier's still going to be splitting with Bijan. Kind of weird, like the Gibbs ceiling, though. Again, that's the same spot I'm at. You're right. Tyler Algier, right? He had really fantastic week 1, and everybody was with pitchforks and torches at Atlanta's at the Falcon Stadium going, what are we doing? You drafted Bijan. He's supposed to be the stud. And those of us who kind of held firm with Tyler, us old heads that love to draft running back in the first few rounds of seasonal drafts, we're like, hey, we could smile a little vote of confidence, but hey, it is what it is. So we shall see. I just love the ceiling of Gibbs today at home at Ford Field is just immense. It's wild. Let me finish out the what I have for quarterbacks here. Brock Purdy is playing in LA, San Francisco at LA. The Rams right now dead last against opposing quarterbacks. I almost said Purdy backs. Is that I don't know. same word, 2 different ways. Brock Purdy, 7-1 on FanDuel, 5-7 on DK, 240 yards, a pair of touchdown passes, and on the ground, he'll move the sticks, nothing crazy, 10 to 15 yards, something along those lines. Matthew Stafford is also in play. Zach Wilson, this is crazy, and you're going to roast me in the comments or drag me or dog me. That's okay, because I'm not really shouting it from the rooftops to play Zach Wilson, because the Jets are in Dallas, and we saw what Dallas did to the Giants on Monday Night Football. They made, I mean, it was a drubbing, the every sense of the word drubbing. I want to be PG here, but they bent them over and they said, our defense is outstanding. So Zach Wilson, it's a sink or swim, feet to the fire, whatever kind of cliche you want to use. And I mentioned the same exact thing on the Friday DFS Den show, right? If Zach Wilson does anything of note, and by that I mean hits 2 times value, 3 times value at his price tag, FanDuel only 6.2 on DraftKings, he's 4.9 on Yahoo, only $20. If he does, if this kid for some odd reason throws 2 touchdown passes and then finds the end zone on the ground with his legs, that's 3 touchdowns. That is hitting like 2, 3, 4, 5 times it's like the Price is Right of value, and nobody on earth is going to be on him. I wrote a note down here that I wanted to check his ownership percentages right before lock, and I can tell you, last I looked about 20-30 minutes ago, his ownership percentage is less than 2%. So by the time everything locks, there's no way it's going to go over 2.5%. So Zach Wilson is, in every sense of the word, one of the biggest GPP flyers you can have this week, along with Clayton Tune in Arizona. You're like, well, backup quarterback who is yet to play in a professional regular season game. How long can Arizona hang with Dobbs? I don't see it working out well, and we know what Arizona's doing. They're biding their time until either Kyler Murray is back or they draft Caleb Williams. He and his dad or his people said just stay in school. I don't. That's a topic for another day. But Clayton Tune, if you want to throw him in a line for $1 in a multi-entry, like one of those 150 multi-entry max GPPs, why not? We'll see what we get. As we go down the list in terms of wide receivers, Jamar Chase is the most expensive guy. I say that, I mentioned it in the articles, just to put everything else into perspective here. And the trio of wide receivers I have here, and I've already put my money where my mouth is, and I guess you'll just have to trust me. Hopefully you do trust me. Don't think I've done anything that would warrant you not trusting me. I haven't lied to you, haven't stolen from you, so you should trust me, right? Just trust is one of those things where it's just given and taken. I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but here we go. The trio of wide receivers: Zay Jones, Jacksonville and Kansas City; Nico Collins, Houston is playing Indianapolis; and Johan Dotson, Washington is playing Denver. And when we look at Zay Jones, I know Mr. Dave Eddy, my counterpart, said something Friday night, and then he tweeted it out. It's like a Tuesday day. Zay Jones, Zay Flowers. I would have no issue stacking up both Zays in a lineup, but there's something about this trio, right? It hit me probably Tuesday afternoon. And again, all the projections in the world, all the notes, all the numbers you can crunch, that's all well and good. That's dandy. That'll get you to a certain point. But where at what should I say? At what cost, at what point do we stop trusting our gut or listening to our gut? And for some reason, this is the one I'm screaming from the mountaintops, that trio in at least 1 or 2 entries: Zay Jones, Nico, and Johan Dotson. Jacksonville, as I said, is playing Kansas City. Kansas City is going to be pissed off. They've lost. They lost to the Lions on Thursday night. Are they going to come out firing? Yes, and that's good. I hope Kansas City puts up 50 points, because that would mean Trevor Lawrence has to then kind of, counteract all that. And in which way is that going to be possible? Trevor Lawrence is going to be firing the ball. I have Zay Jones to find the end zone, 6.3 on FanDuel, 4.7 on DK, only $18 on Yahoo. When we look at Nico, historically, the Colts have really beaten up on Houston. And again, that's good. I want the Colts to beat up on Houston, because that just means that Houston is going to have to push the pace of play. They're going to have to throw the ball. And right now, Nico is coming into his own as a professional wide receiver, University of Michigan guy. Nico Collins, 6.2 on FanDuel, 4.8 on DK, only $16 on Yahoo. And then when we look at Dotson's in his second year in Denver, I know I mentioned I might not want to play the running back in Denver because of the mile high air and the huffing and the puffing. And more than likely, we're going to see, cutaway shots of guys with oxygen masks on, like sucking in straight oxygen because they're so high up. But Dotson, to me, 6-1 on FanDuel, 4-9 on DraftKings, $15 on Yahoo. This guy is just he's one of those players where he just scores touchdowns, right? And we love those guys. That's the name of the game. We want points and we want yardage and we want touchdowns are the it factor. And Johan Dotson has that. Mike, bring up that question's been sitting there for about 5 minutes. Mike Williams or Josh Kelly, PPR. And this is a great question. And I'm not even going to type anything in. I'm not even going to look up any projections. I'm going to speak right from here, as I just told folks. Mike Williams to me is a fantastic wide receiver, but when he's on the field, that's the issue. He struggles to stay on the field, and it always scares me and freaks me out. Mike Williams is healthy right now, right? And as the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube comment has said, Josh Kelly over Mike Williams, safer floor with Eckler out. That's exactly what I was going to say in my roundabout way. Mike Williams, right? It's one of those things where you put him in your lineup in seasonal formats, or you spend up in DFS formats, and we just cannot afford a goose egg or a 0.0. Zero, your GPA 0.0. How is that possible from Animal House? But to me, Mike Williams, second play of the game, if he's running down the field and pulls up lame, and then that's how many times has that happened? And again, I don't dislike Mike Williams. I'm saying I'm not willing to risk putting Mike Williams in a DFS lineup or a seasonal format and having that happen when Josh Kelly is going to be getting. I will look that one up because Josh Kelly was a late. He was actually not late. He was a huge waiver wire addition this week, and hopefully you got him. I know people paid big bucks for him across the board, but Josh Kelly with Austin Eckler out, is Eckler out long term? What is it? Is it a multi-week kind of absence? But give me Josh Kelly in this one over Mike Williams, and I'm not even thinking twice about it. 16 carries for Joshua, 65 to 70 yards. He will find the end zone on the ground, 3 to 4 receptions, another 20 to 25 yards. And I do think we see Josh Kelly score multiple times. In what form or fashion, I don't know. Does it really matter? One in the air, one on the ground. But to me, Josh Kelly over Mike Williams is absolutely yes to me. Let's finish up with the wide receivers here. Jalen Reed, the rookie wide receiver from Michigan State. Green Bay's going to Atlanta. On paper right now, Atlanta is third overall against opposing wide receivers. That doesn't bother me as much. Christian Watson will be out, and as I said, Green Bay and Atlanta is one of my favorite games of the week. And I don't need the headphones. I don't know why I'm using those because no one's talking back to me in there. But when we look at Jalen Reed in a game where I like the over under, let me double check that really quick. The over-under sits at 40, which is kind of, mid-range. It's a little on the lower end as we look at the median of over-under here. But I have Green Bay to hang 24, 27 points in this one. And how is that going to happen? Aaron Jones is already inactive. People are, lining up to play A.J. Dillon or to play A.J. Dillon in DFS formats. And we know Romeo mentioned him already. But to me, Jalen Reed is one of those sneaky moves where we can play him 5-1 on FanDuel, 3-4 on DraftKings, only $13 on Yahoo, and really we can squeeze every dime of value out of Jalen Reed, and he's not going to hurt us much. It's like one of those things where you can. Correct me if I'm wrong here. We can actually, like, if you have your phone out, bring your phone out right now, and we'll do it together. You can actually bring up FanDuel or DraftKings, right? And start your lineup. Just put in Jalen Reed and then go from there. That's like a must, just like a free square, right? And if in Mr. Dave Eddy's memory, he's not dead. He's just not here with me. We can we'll do Josh Allen and Jalen Reed. Boom, boom. We already got 2 guys, and then we can fill it in the gaps from there. As we move down the list, Justin Watson in Kansas City, Josh Palmer, the Chargers go to Tennessee. I think the Chargers put a absolute hammer down on Tennessee in Nashville today. How much, Chris? How much do the Chargers win by? I have the Chargers winning 31-ish to 14, 35 to 14. So everybody on the Chargers offense is in play, including their DST. We saw Tannehill and Treylon Burks last week just sitting together on the sideline, nothing going on. That's always tough to see, in a team like that. And if you haven't seen, I saw this, it was a graphic or a gimmick, however you want to put it, where Tennessee wants to build like this new $3.8 billion stadium. Well, they're not going to build it on the heels of Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, but hey, I digress. Let's start with when we look at the running backs. No questions to be asked of yet so far, although Tyler did. Give me just a second, Mike, and we'll Tyler, I'll answer your question in just a moment. When we look at the running backs, the most expensive guy is Christian McCaffrey, and rightfully so. Frisco goes to LA, not a far trip south from Frisco to LA, that beautiful SoFi Stadium. Talk about state-of-the-art billion-dollar stadiums. Right now, the Rams 9th overall against opposing running backs. That doesn't matter at all when it comes to Christian McCaffrey. 9.5 on FanDuel, 8.9 on DraftKings, $40 on Yahoo. You know what you're going to get with McCaffrey. He's the most expensive guy for a reason. Anytime he touches the football, he is at, I was going to say at risk, but anytime he touches the football, realistically, boom, he can take it right to the house, right, score a touchdown. We saw him do it last week on some little, hitch route, some little end around or something like that. And he just ran right up the sideline and took it to the house. Let's bring up Tyler's question. Full PPR, need to start 2 of the 4. JSN, which is the rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba, if I'm not mistaken, who Seattle plays in Detroit. Christian Kirk, Jacksonville is playing Kansas City. Tutu Atwell or Rashid Shaheed here. This is a great question. That four very talented receivers, and I love all 4 from a DFS perspective, but I know you need 2 guys, Tyler. And to me, maybe I'm going to start talking, and as you're listening, tell me, reply back to me as I'm talking if you can. If this is a seasonal format, what are you looking like? Do you want like that high upside? Do you want safe plays? Are you playing against your boss, your girlfriend? Do you want to really beat the crap out of somebody? Because that would change my mind here in a certain ways. But to me, it'd have to be Kirk and Shaheed. Those would be my 2 picks. When you look at JSN, they're in Detroit, right? And there's only so much of the football to go around. And again, as I said, Geno Smith is going to be running for his life. The Detroit Lions defensive front is going to make life a living hell for Geno. So to be fair, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are absolutely in play, but I just don't know how much is going to be left around for JSN. I say you're 0-1. You lost Eckler and Watson this week. That's tough. That's tough. And thank you to Mike, the producer, for really putting these questions up in real time. So for me, Tyler, I would run with Kirk and Shaheed. We've seen Shaheed last year mentioned in bottom of the barrel a bunch of times. He started out as like a gadget player, a gadgety kind of guy. And they actually said that. New Orleans actually said, we want to get away from using him as that gadget guy, right? But they're getting him involved in other ways. So to me, it's Kirk for the safeness, and then you get Shaheed for that upside big bomb play, and then JSN and Atwell are somewhere in the middle. So give me Kirk and Shaheed there. As we continue with the running backs here, we're about 32 minutes into this thing. Well, an hour 56 overall live on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe to this video, head over to the website. You can join the Discord. The Discord is free, but if you pay the monthly $9.99, you get access to a couple other channels that wouldn't be regularly available. And you can always tag me or Mr. Eddy in the sports betting thing, the DF. That's the best way to get a hold of me and Dave, or you can just reach out to me on Twitter in a DM. I pride myself on replying back to anybody and everybody I can. Heck, I've even given out my phone number a couple times just for a text. I got a quick question, you can text me. That's the kind of guy that I wanted to be, or I want to be when it comes to this stuff. Let's tie the running backs up in a bow, because we still have a couple tight ends and DSTs, and we're 33 minutes into this thing right now. Getting a lot of questions about James Cook, and I saw right before I joined the broadcast, I was in the waiting room, or the lobby, as you would call it, and there was a lot of James Conner talk being thrown around there as well. Let's talk about James Cook briefly. Questionable tag, but he looks to play. Buffalo playing in Las Vegas, or hosting Las Vegas. Vegas 23rd overall against opposing running backs. Cook 6-6 on FanDuel, 6-1 on DraftKings, and on Yahoo, he's $21. When we look at this game, I cannot get away from the game script, or that idea, the narrative that Buffalo is 0-1 and they're going to be pissed. They're going to be upset. They're going to try and hang points. Shockingly enough, I'm not kidding when I say this, I have Vegas to win this game. I have Vegas to go into Buffalo and win this one, but I do have Buffalo to score 24, 25, 20, mid 20 something points. So to me, James Cook is at play. It doesn't matter who wins or loses the actual game. That's never been a factor in DFS, but I have Vegas to win, but James Cook is still in play when it comes to DFS formats. When we look at James Conner, I absolutely love James Conner this week. The Giants go to Arizona. The over-under in this one is very low, 39.5. And at quick, the only other game, they're tied with a few games, Indy, Houston's 39.5. Monday Night Football is nasty. That Monday Night Football is the lowest over-under of the entire slate, if I'm not mistaken, at 38.5. But the Giants at Arizona, 39.5. I have Arizona winning this one and hanging 21 to 24 points. And I love the idea that James Conner has been involved in the passing game. And Conner, 6-4 on FanDuel, 6-2 on DraftKings, and Yahoo, only $17. You know that saying, use it before you lose it, or sometimes corny. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, you bust tables, been a waiter or a waitress or something, or in a factory, your boss or your superior will go, well, smoke them if you got them. While James Conner is healthy, let's use Conner while he's healthy. And again, James Conner is a wonderfully talented man. He's a great dude, but he has trouble staying on the field, and that's okay. When he's healthy, I'm always all in on James Conner. So to me, in DFS formats and in seasonal formats, run it. Mike, can we bring up this comment? And I'm going to read this on the fly. Dropify. That's a great name. Tyler Algier or Zay Jones this week for a flex PPR. And then he says, I like the matchup upside of Zay Jones, and not a fan of the update on Robinson getting a majority of the snaps. Well, to be fair, Bijan, that he was the king, or the stud running back that we were promised right after the draft when Atlanta grabbed him, and then Algier's stock went just straight into the ground. But after week one, people started to perk up again. So as you say, you like the matchup side of Zay Jones, not a fan of Algier. Well, to me, it's all about, again, as I answered Tyler's question, kind of, type and speak back to me as I'm talking. Are you looking for a safe upside play, or are you looking to hit home runs? If you're looking to hit home runs, it's Zay Jones. Tyler, as I said, what did I say? 14, 15 carries, 55 to 60 yards. And when it comes to Zay Jones, I mentioned him in bottom of the barrel, and I just talked about him for a few minutes. Let me look him up, what I have for my personal projections for Zay Jones. 7 to 8 targets. Let's go 5 to 6 receptions for about 60 yards, maybe even 65 yards. And I think he finds the end zone in a game where it's just back and forth. Jacksonville and Kansas City are just slugging it out. And I have Jacksonville to beat Kansas City. So far I have Vegas to beat Buffalo. So take that Vegas money line. I'm sure it's plus money. Same thing with Jacksonville to beat Kansas City. They're probably plus money. So to me, you're looking at Buffalo and Kansas City both to start their season 0-2, and give me Zay Jones in this question in a game where they're just throwing punches back and forth, where Jacksonville wins this one 24 to 21, something along those lines, maybe even 27 to 24. We're going to be in the mid to high 20s in this one, but Jacksonville win this one. And the six pack YouTube comment, it's supposed to be raining and gross weather weather in Jacksonville today too. That's all well and good because again, Trevor Lawrence is a stud. He's a pro. He's very good at what he does. And when it comes to Zay, I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe some kind of like a Jamal Agnew, right? Jamal Agnew's on the same team. I don't know if he's going to be active. Jamal Agnew used to return punts and kicks here in Detroit, did the same thing in Jacksonville. Last year, he did the same thing. He succumbed to injury last year, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Jacksonville get Zay Jones involved in the offensive game plan in other ways rather than just running routes. Maybe line them up in the backfield for a play or two. I'm not saying, yeah, actually I am. I'm saying they'll get gimmicky if they have to hang, and if they are ultimately beat to beat Kansas City, Jacksonville is going to be very, inventive in ways to get their guys involved, and Zay Jones will absolutely be involved in that. Mr. David and I don't want to butcher your last name. That would be horrible. That would be rude of me. I'm a gentleman, so I'm just going to call you Mr. David. PPR flex, Pickens or Tyler Algier. Tyler is the toast of the town or the talk of the town. Also, do you drop Bateman for a rookie running back? Well, if you're going to drop Bateman, what rookie running back are you looking to pick up? I need that answer. You can't just drop Bateman and have an empty spot. I'd rather have Bateman than an empty spot. But to me, Pickens or Tyler Algier, I've said all I could say about Tyler so far, but we haven't mentioned Pickens yet, right? And when you look at George Pickens, Pittsburgh, this afternoon. Let me double check in my notes. Pittsburgh is playing on Monday night. They're at home against Cleveland in a very under kind of game here. So I'm staying away from Pickens. I have Pittsburgh to, I'd be shocked if Pittsburgh scored double-digit points on Monday Night Football. So I'm staying away from Pickens. Sure. Will he have, I brought up the projections, but I didn't say anything. 6 to 7 targets, 4, maybe 5 receptions. I'm always, more on the upside there or try and give the guy an extra little juice here. 4 to 5 receptions for about 50 yards, and that's it. So you're looking at 10 points in a PPR league, right? You're going to get five points just on the catches. You're going to get another 5 on the yardage here. But ultimately, I have Algier to do just about that before halftime. I'm going to guess he's going to have 15, 16 carries, 60, 70 yards. He'll have 3 to 4 receptions for another 30, 40 yards. So to me, I'm starting Algier over Pickens all day, and that's it. And then the question is, do I drop Bateman for a rookie running back, Dell or Tucker? So you're talking about Tank Dell, if I'm not mistaken, and then that's Sean Tucker, if I'm not mistaken. Well, to truth be told, I've never been that high on Bateman, and we've never really seen him pop or flash. He's always been on the sideline or on the IR. Right now, though, David, I would hold Bateman. Let's just give it another week, and we'll see what we have going on. If Dell and Tucker are still on the waiver wire right now, I'd imagine that they'll be there again the same time next week. Let's give week 2, and we'll see what we get, because Baltimore is playing in Cincinnati. The bitter rivalry there. They're going to be slugging it out as well, and we'll see if Bateman can. This will be the week. If we see Bateman get a little bit involved, we see some targets thrown his way, some catches and some yardage. You don't want to drop someone prematurely and add a rookie running back and then go, oh my God, I just dropped this guy and I saw him play well for the first time ever, and it make you sick to your stomach. So just hold on to Bateman for now. And again, those guys will probably be still on waivers at the end of this week or a week from now. It's 12:41 Eastern time. Lock is about 19 minutes or so away. I'm going to finish out with the running backs, mention a few tight ends, some DSTs, and a lightning round kind of thing, because before you know it, time just goes by. Boom, it's already week 2. Can you believe it? Dameon Pierce, very much in play. Houston stud running back. He's going to get all the carries he can handle. Indianapolis 24th overall against opposing running backs. Pierce, $6,000 on FanDuel, $5,600 on DK, $18 on Yahoo. Dameon Pierce to me should be in everybody's GPP lineups this week, just based on matchup and projected not point totals, but projected workload alone. I already mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs. As we go down, I want to mention, what about the Baltimore guys, right? Gus and Justice Hill. Which way would we go? Why can't we play both of them? That's the kind of GPP player I am. When you look at Baltimore, as I said, they're playing in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has Mixon and Chris Evans, in their backfield. And this game would kind of be, I don't know, Cincinnati needs to do something, right? Burrow was kind of skunked last time out, and not a lot went on for Cincinnati. So in a way, they're along the same lines as Buffalo and Kansas City. They need to get it going. They need to get a win, or they're already starting their season 0-2. But I have Cincinnati to win this one. But I do think both Gus and Justice Hill have a role to play. Of the two, I would prefer Gus, but again, I would start both of them for the heck of it. Put Lamar at quarterback, and then you have that trio of all the rushing yards that Baltimore puts up. You'll have on one roster. Any rushing touchdowns you can get your hands on will be there with those collective three. Last but not least, the rookie running back in Chicago, Mr. Johnson. Chicago's at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 18th overall against opposing running backs, and to me personally, Tampa Bay is in a very good spot, defensively speaking, against Justin Fields, but I need to hold my horses. We'll get to that in a moment. 6-1 on FanDuel, only 4-9 on DraftKings, $16 on Yahoo. I'm going to wrap this thing up so we can get the heck out of here. And we'll look at tight ends here. Travis Kelce looks to be active. You got it, Joe. There's our fearless leader, Mr. Bond, Joe Bond. That sure he's heard that thing a million times. And to be fair, Joe, is that the high sign? Is that like the wrap it up sign you're giving me? Let's wrap it up here and get the heck out of here. If it is, let me know and we'll get out of here. I'll buzz through some tight ends really quick. Travis Kelce is going to be active today. By all means, probably could have played on Thursday, but he's had more than enough time to let that hyperextended knee heal and go from there. Mark Andrews is going to be active again today, but when we look at the other guys in my genre of GPPs and stuff, Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo's playing Vegas. Vegas is 20th against opposing tight ends. Cole Kmet, Chicago's tight end. Sam Laporta, Detroit's rookie tight end. Luke Musgrave, Green Bay Packers rookie tight end. And there's just something about Adam Troutman today. Denver's playing Washington. Adam, only 4-6 on FanDuel. 3, am I writing so small sometimes I can't even see it myself. Adam Troutman, $3,000 on DraftKings and $10 on Yahoo. If you want to put a parlay together, we talked about it on Friday. It's right here. I can share this briefly. Kincaid to score a touchdown, Kmet to score a touchdown, Luke Musgrave to score a touchdown, and Adam Troutman to score a touchdown. So 4 tight ends in a anytime touchdown parlay. I don't have the numbers in front of me because I just ran out of time to do the pluses and all that, but I'm telling you, those 4 tight ends and 1 parlay to score a touchdown, you put $10 on that, I'm sure it would be a pretty hefty sum of money coming back your way. As we wrap this thing up, as we look at DSTs, it's got to be all about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going. They're hosting Chicago. And right now, Chicago are the Chicago Bears in shambles? Not yet. Are the Chicago Bears fans in shambles? Absolutely. There was this, I don't know if maybe it's just my world, and I try to expand my horizon to everything and everybody for all of you watching there. But I don't know how involved everybody is on Twitter or social media in general. But Chicago Bears fans were very snobby this offseason that this is their year, and they wouldn't let it go, right? Justin Fields is going to be our guy. And then Chicago Bears season isn't over by any means, but heading to Tampa Bay this week after losing the way they did in Green Bay last week or against Green Bay last week is not a good look. And Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. So can you imagine what social media is going to be like this afternoon or this evening if Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay steamroll over Chicago? Personally, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping it happens. I do have Tampa Bay to win. It has nothing to do with the fact that I dislike Chicago. Tampa Bay is the better team right now, and I have Tampa Bay to win this one 28-14. So as we wrap this thing up, any more questions, you can find me on Twitter at Detroit Beastie. I'll do my best in the last 13, 14 or so minutes before lock time. You can find me there. You can go to the fantasy6pack.net website, and $9.99. You get all access. It's such a breeze. You just click one button and you get access to everything. Why even shop around? This is where you're going to want to be. And I know week 2 has yet to kick off. It will in about 10 minutes, but I'm telling you right now, if you've already been a part of the Fantasy Six Pack family, you know what we're all about. If you're yet to join, then I implore you to please join just for 1 month. See, just to see. I've spent $9 on far worse. They're $10 on far worse things than a membership at Fantasy Six Pack, and you get all access to the Discord, meaning me, Dave, Eddy, and everybody else, Mr. Joe, Keith, everybody in the Discord, part of this family. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Alan, who was on earlier, and Mr. Josh Fleming, who came over here. Shout out to Fantasy and Frames as well for letting us have some of their talent over here. But to me, it's one of the better collections of fantasy sports minds in the game right now, and you can get access to all of that stuff for only $10. No brainer to me, and it's a no brainer that I thank all of you for being here this afternoon. I can't thank Fantasy Six Pack enough. Maybe one of these days, you're going to get sick of all the mushy pleasantries, but until then, I'm going to say thank you to them and Joe and Keith and everybody here for welcoming me with open arms. And just be on the lookout, right? Miami plays at New England Sunday Night Football. That video will be out this afternoon, 2-3 o'clock. Already working on it. Already gave you a peek behind the curtain in some ways. So be good, be safe, and until I see you again soon for Sunday Night Football, let's do this all again tomorrow and Sunday again. See ya. Bye.